The Bardown podcast is recorded in downtown Toronto in front of a live studio audience. And now, the show.
Welcome to the very first Bardown live podcast of the year. Luca looked disgusted there for a second. I'll explain. He'd never seen the shot that you just saw. We are not in front of a live studio audience, except we kind of are, because you're our audience online.
I wasn't disgusted. I was like really impressed. I was just like, whoa, the production value of this is great.
We try to put a little effort into some things, you know.
You try.
Voice of an angel.
Oh, thanks.
Voice of an
Music,
angel.
beautiful music too. Really set the tone.
Yeah.
We have an audience. We are risky here.
Yeah, we got Risky here. We got Risky on the boards, and we also have you watching from home. Thank you for joining us for this one. This is our first show of the year, so some of you might be new, some of you might have been watching for years, but we always like to kind of do at least a little bit of a table setter before we actually, start these for the first time this season. Jesse, you're the Jets fan. We know that already. He's wearing a Kraken sweater. Yeah. Not doing a great job.
Well, should I explain the story of how I got the Kraken?
You win a moment because I'll quickly go through.
No problem.
Thomas, he's our resident Habs fan. We actually lost our Leafs fan on the panel with two of them, actually. And then we have Luca, who will be filling in as he is an Habs fan, but he also kind of is a Leafs fan. And a Red Wings fan.
I hate this.
And many other things.
I hate this. I'm an Avs fan.
Yeah. Me, I've chosen what a wagon to hitch myself to. Sabres. Excellent.
You tell yourself that, buddy.
Mm-hmm. But yes, we are here for our first show. We're going to be up for 2 hours. This is not the only style of podcast that we're going to be doing this year. No. We'll be doing other ones that are taped, but we want to do these at least once a month because we think they're kind of fun ways of interacting, but also, just a new format. So let me run down exactly what we're doing today. And we actually have a rundown for this. We'll be doing a bunch of different topics. The first one, it's our panic meter. It's the reason you're here, especially if you're a Canucks fan already in here. Sure, you're just itching to hear how we're going to mess up whatever take it is on your team. But I actually think we got it this year.
You have no idea what's coming.
You got no idea. We have a panic meter going on, and we have a bunch of teams that we've chosen, and we'll decide whether or not we actually think you should be panicking at all, or if you're absolutely right to be a bit of an alarmist. After that, we will then be discussing a couple of our favorite things. We have their Don't Think, Just Tweet. That's kind of our quick way of just, news around the league. We don't cover a team in our first kind of main topic there. From there, we're going to go our best clip of the week. We got our best goal of the month. I'm going to show you guys a bunch of different examples. I think we got 3 because we want to kind of have a running leaderboard of whatever the best goal of the season is going to be, as well as the best save. Then we also are going to reopen the case files on your much discussed, at least internally, top 25 lists, because you guys can reevaluate a little bit and actually see if you want to change anything at all. And then, yes, at the very end, we'll be answering your questions because you're nice enough to leave them, and that's what we'll be doing. We'll be answering them. That'll be for a little while. So if you're liking what you're watching, of course, like the video, and you may have noticed, maybe you didn't. This is a new Bardown channel, so we appreciate you being here. If you're enjoying it, why not give it a nice subscribe?
Heck yeah.
So without further ado, you guys ready to kick this off?
Oh, the panic meter.
Panic meter.
Maybe. Who's panicking?
Here's
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll discuss.
Schwitzing.
Here's an example of our panic meter here on screen, as you'll see. Because there are ratings, there are levels to this game right here. So in the middle we have neutral, then we have at ease, and then we have full chill, as in you're not remotely panicked about them. On the other side, we got worried in orange there because you've seen some bad signs of the team. And then the red, you got full stage panic. I'll be a little surprised if anyone uses that. It's a little early, but you never know. We've offered a scale for this time out. The way it's going to work is one of the guys is actually going to get teed up on one of these. They're going to decide, we'll chat, but you as well in the chat. I'm going to be looking. You're going to decide whether or not you agree with us because, your vote on this counts. So if you're in this live chat, I will be looking at the very end of this to see what your thoughts are as far as the panic meter is on each team. Are you guys ready to get this kicked off?
I am, absolutely. And just before we get started, as is tradition in the live videos that we do, just before we get started, Let's use some horses in the chat, people. Get some horses in the chat.
I was a little worried.
I thought he was going to ask. Honestly, I thought you were going to ask what we were eating for lunch.
Yeah.
That is also a tradition when we do a
live
tradition around.
Already ate. We're good to go.
Yes.
I just want to see some horses
Get some absolute
in the chat.
Some horses in the seats right now. But let's start this off, and we're going to start this off with the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, no.
Sitting at 0-4. Oh, yeah. Sitting at 0-4, no team has surrendered more goals than the Avalanche. Luca, what has happened, and what is your level of panic with this team?
Okay. Can I start with what's happened, how we've gotten here so far? Let's start with that, because we've got some time, and these are things that grievances I've wanted to air out for a while, because it's been eating away at me internally that they're 0-4 to start this season, which is not what anyone expected. Nathan MacKinnon's talked about it a couple times already where it's like, he's just like, why can't we ever be healthy? Like every season at the start of the season for at least the last few campaigns here, they've had some kind of big injury that has not allowed them to play at full strength. And usually they're pretty good at it. Like they've been used to being able to play well in the face of all of this adversity, all of these injuries, whatever. But, that's not easy to do. And I think we take that for granted a little bit. And I think Avs fans have in the past where it's like, they've done this before. But, they have $40 million of salary cap space in the press box right now with
That's a
Lehkonen,
huge
with
number.
Nichushkin, with Landeskog. Devin Taves is hurt as well right now. So, you're relying on a lot of different line combinations. And, McKinnon and Rantanen and Makar have been outstanding. But Jared Bednar has changed his lines up a lot because he's still looking for the combinations below in the lineup that are going to lead to a more well-rounded team. I think they've played 3 good games out of the 4 they've lost, and it just hasn't gone their way based on a lot of bad goaltending.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a name we haven't heard yet that I assumed you would have led a lot of this with.
Alex Georgiev, and I don't want to be too harsh because I think that he's been not great for sure, but I also think that as good as the Avs have been, underlying numbers-wise, and McKinnon also alluded to this, he's like, the analytics are good. He's like, they're a very analytical team. They have meetings.
Do you actually think he sits down? It's after the game, he's like, honestly, I don't even care that we lost. Look at our XG.
I don't think he does that, but I know the coaches, I've read an article about it, how, the coaching staff has analytical meetings where they show and present some of these numbers to be the process is good, it's going to turn around, but he's just at this point, he's just we need to just win some games. So I totally get that. But Georgiev hasn't been good, and defensively, I think that Makar has been a little underwhelming, and he has said so far to this point as well. All in all, though, I'm neutral right now.
You're neutral. You're going to give it a neutral.
Avs fans are in full panic.
Yeah.
I see it on Twitter. I see you Avs fans. I'm in neutral right now because this has... You could lose 4 games at any point in the season and go on a 4-game losing streak and just as easily bounce back. They've got the Ducks tonight. They've got some easier schedule teams coming up with the Ducks, the Sens, Ottawa, I just said, Seattle. These are different than the Bostons and the Vegases of the world.
Luca's had his say here. Do you guys kind of agree with that? Neutral? Would you be feeling neutral on the panic meter if you're an Avs fan right now?
I just feel like the Avs have enough solid stars on their team to get them back to a position where they'll be in a playoff spot, and I think that will happen down the stretch. What I would be worried about, though, is the goaltending. I think Georgiev he's concerning between the pipes right now, and you're right, maybe he's getting a little more exposed because there's so many dollars in the press box right now, and that's having an effect on him as well. But, I mean, this guy's been really not good, and, I mean, starting, again, it's a 4-game losing streak. It's still 4 games out of 82 games, and I don't know. I don't know if I would I think neutral is appropriate, but there are definitely reasons to be worried about the Avalanche.
It's a level-headed approach from Luca. And Thomas, you kind of in agreement there?
I think Luca made a great point about you can lose 4 games from December, or in January, and no one's going to really make a big deal about it. But the one thing I'll say from the goaltending side of things is it's not just 4 games. This is a long-stemming issue that we've seen.
He ended the year under 900, right? And in the playoffs,
I remember. I'll never forget your reaction to the first playoff game.
Well, the first playoff game was a disaster, but after that, he was actually solid in the playoffs, which was a surprise to everyone. Because after that first game, it was just a disaster.
Jesse's about to take it back.
In fairness, The Avs just worked the Jets in that series from
sure.
top to bottom after game 1. We got worked.
You were real positive in the beginning. I remember the energy.
Even in that Dallas series, though, he was fine enough where I was like, he's not the problem. He's not the reason we lost.
And that's literally what the Avs need out of a goalie,
Yeah.
as
100%.
you've shown already with
And
Kemper.
that's kind of why I'm not worried, because like the Edmonton of this last year, where they started like 5-12-1 and were last in the division, and then almost won the division after, is like the Avs have enough talent still. They're gonna get players back. They just need to at least go like 500 now and just win a few games with these guys out to be able to get back in it.
Hopefully Nichushkin can come back, because he's such an X factor for that team.
Chat, we are turning to you in this case to see what you think about that. Do you think, where would you put the Avs? Neutral, at ease, worried, panic, full chill? I want to see what you're doing there. And again, we see your comments here. One of them I absolutely love, because it's the inverse of, if you're a footy fan, which I know we are in the room and here.
Yeah,
Someone says
Arsenal fans right here beside me.
Yeah.
Converted Arsenal fan.
No,
No.
I don't even know why I
I'm
said
not
yeah.
a converted
We'll sing it
Arsenal
later.
fan.
Yeah.
Big game tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's a fan from the UK there. I missed your message here now, where your actual name is. But he was saying he's in reverse. He's watching this later at night now. You can enjoy this because it's already nighttime for them.
Yeah.
So, everyone else was like, 10 a.m. is kind of nuts for this. He's like, oh, yes, bring that on.
Don't worry. We know. We watched the Sunday nighter between the Steelers and the Cowboys at 5 in the morning in London when we were there.
It's a lot of worries in the chat, by the way.
A lot of worries.
I see more worries than anything else, but there are some people who think that neutral was fine. And then someone says Avs are dead. That was the pet.
Yeah, no.
Are you worried at all that they
I-
don't have enough depth in their bottom 6 on offense, even when they're healthy? I know right now, like, there's a ton of players, like you mentioned, $40 million in the press box, but their bottom 6 in general at full strength, because I know that's a strength for a lot of great teams.
Not really, honestly, because ideally, like in an ideal world, their bottom 6 is Ross Colton. Like the third line specifically is Ross Colton, Miles Wood, Logan O'Connor, and that's been one of their best like analytical lines, most consistent lines. That style of play, like Miles Wood is so fast and strong on the forecheck. Like I love Ross Colton. He's stepped up in every spot in the lineup so far, and like he's been playing great on the first line this season. So like when everyone's at full strength, I'm actually not worried about it. Right now, though, relying on those guys to be key contributors with so many other people out, and I think also part of it is like they've relied on Richie and a couple of other younger guys to be really good right away, and it just hasn't worked out, and that makes sense. Like Richie's never played an NHL game before. His defensive details aren't where they should be, and that's going to come with experience and time. But being relied on to be like a second line player right away was maybe a little
Ambitious. A little ambitious.
for sure. Yeah,
Well, let's stay in the Central. Also sitting at 0-4.
love to see it.
There was a whole lot to be excited about with the Nashville Predators heading into the season. They made a number of key acquisitions. They started off the year by reminding us that when you win the offseason, it doesn't necessarily just gel right at the beginning. Jesse, what should the level of panic be in Music City?
Are they on life alert?
All Nashville
no.
Predators need life alert.
I mean, 0-4 is life alert.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that the Preds should be worried. I'm not gonna say full panic yet, simply because I feel like we got to give this new core a little more time to gel. And let's also remember that Nashville wasn't a great team, and then that whole thing happened with the Sphere last year, and then they went on a heater. Like this team is
I like how that's like a real thing. Like,
I was gonna
the
say,
Sphere.
well, no.
is and I
Is
know
you two
it's a
playing in
Sphere.
Vegas?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the-
Get them to
no,
the show.
no, what? There's
Get them to the
actually-
show now.
There's the craziest EDM like festival going on at New Year's in Vegas,
And that's full panic
Anima's
mode. That's
headlining
full
it.
panic mode if you're in there.
They should show up to Vegas, get tickets, but not go, and then just see how their season plays
how it
out.
goes.
But honestly, the reason why I bring that up is because this team is capable of rallying, and that's even before they got Stamkos and Marchessault and Brady Shea. But I mean, there are so many reasons to be concerned right now as well. First of all, this team prides itself on defense. They've not been playing well defensively, and Saros has been not good this year so far. 11 goals through 3 games that he's allowed, and you're already starting to worry as well. Is trading Askarov, was that the right move? I know it's early, and obviously Saros is great, and
He takes some time to
like,
warm up too, Saros. He's
Of
like a
course.
historic slow starter.
of course. But if we're basing this off of what we've seen, you can't help but think, as a Preds fan, like, did we make the right move here? Obviously Stamkos doesn't have a point through the first few games.
Saros does, by the
So
way.
yeah, and
So.
Marchessault has been like decent, not great. But I think this team's showing that if guys like Stamkos and Marchessault aren't going to step up, like the depth really isn't there to make up for those guys. Like I think Nashville's averaging the most goals, they're tied for last in the league for goals for per game. I think they're averaging 2 goals per game, and I think they're like second or third last in the league in goals against. I think they might be averaging like 4.5 goals per game against, and I mean you can't help but just be worried right now. If you're Nashville, they're almost at full panic, but it's just a little early. And again, this team showed that it is capable of rallying. But I mean, they should not be feeling good. This is a team that prides itself on defense, and they are bleeding goals right now.
I got a question for you. Do they, at the very least, if you want to have a little bit of a silver lining for any Predators fans out there, do they at least feel like a team that after 82 games they do squeak in with what they have experience-wise? You'd totally maybe flip your mind on them and say, like, you know what? I don't even care about the regular season because of the personnel that they have in there. Would you at least be excited that if they made the playoffs, then you think that would be almost like a different team? Because that feels like what they tried to sign up for.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll get in. I don't necessarily think we're going to do that well in the Central, but good enough that we'll get in. And then what we have, it's like we got a lot of experience.
Yeah, I think Nashville's a team that if they sneak in as a wild card, especially if they get hot towards the playoffs, they are probably a team that you don't want to play. I mean, that kind of happened with them last year, but then they ended up losing to Vancouver, who we didn't give enough credit to, in fairness, going into the playoffs. But yeah, would I be that surprised if Nashville found a way to turn things around and then got hot heading into the playoffs, and they have guys like Stamkos and Marchessault who have already found their stride finally towards the end of the year? Yeah, I think Nashville could be a scary team to play against, but it's all about getting there first. And there are some decent teams in the Central. I mean, Dallas is looking really, really darn good. And yeah, I know what Pac's going to say. You don't win in the NHL through free agency, but a
lot of people do as well say that. Yeah.
We're 4 games in. There's lots of reason to worry right now, but I'm not going to hit the full panic yet, simply because, again, I think this team has shown that it's capable of rallying. And of course, it's going to take them a little time to click as a new core.
Well, Silly Goose has said, really worried about the Preds, but rooting for them to turn it around. There's a few people in the chat that feel more worried. I'll ask you guys a little bit later on here, but how about you guys? Would you say worried? Is that where you'd feel?
I think
panic
it's
level-wise?
fair to give them a little bit more time to breathe and get some more games under their wings, given that there's so many new players. But to be honest, I never really bought into the ceiling of this team from the get-go anyways. I didn't think they'd be winless through 4 games and one of the last teams to win a game in the NHL, but like Jesse said, like you alluded to, my stance on free agency, signing a bunch of players in their mid-30s, some players even in their late 30s, I just don't think that instantly creates a window for excellence when already your core was at best like a wild card area. And I think to your point of fearing them in the playoffs, I like that's one way to go about it because they have that experience, but you also put yourself in a really tough position when you go into the playoffs as a wild card team, just with the matchups that you're going to run into. So I think worried is a safe space for them right now. Do I really believe in them this year? And then more importantly, like the next 3-4 years, just with the contracts that they handed out?
Not as much.
Not really.
You're a little concerned.
But
or worried.
For me, it's all about expectations. And where I kind of see them is just like wild card, maybe get into the playoffs, nothing all that more. And I still think that they can achieve that.
Okay.
But going back to what you were saying, Z, I do think that, again, if this team does manage to squeak in and find some sort of stride heading into the playoffs and they get there, I think there is something to say about having guys like Stamkos and Marchessault on your team. Like those guys are you're right, Z. Like you kind of sign those guys for the playoffs. But
they're April, May, June signing.
Yeah.
But of course, you got to get there.
Has, in my opinion, probably stronger players. Like the top contenders in the West.
Yeah, but guys who can get it done in the playoffs. Necessarily, those are 2 guys that can get it done in the playoffs.
Well, just Kachucking around his adversity early in the season is what championships are built on. I think one thing that you guys aren't factoring as well, they got someone as a GM that's going to just come down and coach this team, most likely, it feels. They're like, you know what?
Well, Andrew Burnett's a great
down
coach.
There. He's a great coach.
Andrew Burnett's a great coach, and that's why this whole thing's a little surprising. I feel like there's a lot of pressure probably on the core right now to perform well, and I feel like they will eventually evolve out of this slump and kind of find their rhythm at some point of the season.
Yeah. Moving on from one team, chat sorry, we have not given you your say in there. What would you put for the Nashville Predators? We have put them as worried. I see a lot of people saying panic in here as well already. But, yeah, what would you put the Nashville Predators down? And while you're doing seeing some full panics already.
I would say like a very worried.
Yeah, I think I would agree on that one. Now let's go from a team that's quite old to the literal youngest team in the league. It's been 13 years since the Sabres have made the playoffs, and it's already starting to feel like it might be 14 with the team off to a 1-4-1 start. 3 points out of a possible 12 to start the year. What should the level of panic be in Buffalo? That's me teeing me up for this. So Jesse brought this up, like he pitched them as a team. I want to say it was 2 days ago. It was a fresh off the Penguins loss, or was it before the Penguins? I don't even remember. Might have been right after that. And I was kind of like, oh no, the thing of the Penguins wasn't great. It's like whatever. I've completely turned around on that. Like, I don't want to be an alarmist here, but I watched that Blue Jackets game last night. And the thing that you thought after the Pittsburgh game, which is when you lose in such a gutting fashion, where it's the same thing, where in the moments where you really need them to lock in, either at the end of periods or at the start of periods, where young teams make those mistakes and don't have any confidence, they keep doing that. And when you're already this far behind, and I say this, I get it, it's only a few points, but you're at the bottom of the Atlantic, which is merciless already as a division, and you constantly are there. You got to be at least worried. At the very, I know a lot of people are already full panic. I will just say worried, mostly because of that bracket there. There's more than enough bad signs. It's weird. Like, they finally have a third line that works. Like, I know no one was really that excited about the Ryan McLeod trade. He actually has looked great. That whole line, Jordan Greenway, has been, exceptional. It's the guys that they've kind of locked up to these longer deals that you're waiting for that next step. Again, not calling people out, but it's like the Cousins, where he's had a really tough start to the year. Owen Power, not a great start to the year necessarily either. Even Dahlin, he had a really rough night last night. And when you're just a young team where it's the culture that everyone keeps looking at, and it's the situation of how long can people just be in an environment where they lose and before they learn, that's what I'm scared of. Because when you start like that right away, it's a huge mountain to overcome. But I open the floor to you guys.
I'm not even, it's not even full panic for me. I'm just I give up.
The
I
meter's
give up
broken.
the meter's broken. I actually just give up on the Sabres. They have proven, and I feel, I don't want to criticize the organization. Well, I mean, at least the fans. The Sabres have such great fans, and I think that goes without saying. So much respect to Sabres fans, and I feel bad that you guys have to year in and year out just watch this team just settle for worse than mediocrity. Just settle for being bad every year. And why is it that all these players, it's this team they went through a rebuild stage, and then the rebuild stage didn't work, and now they're rebuilding again, and it just seems like it's still going nowhere. Guys like Sam Reinhart and Jack Eichel go to new teams. Ryan O'Reilly, they immediately find their stride with other teams. They've all won Stanley Cups. It's what is going on with the Sabres? It just seems like there's something really. I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. But I'm so done with having any sort of hope with the Sabres. They're so poorly. Are they even I want to say they're poorly managed, but it just seems like all these players that they're putting a lot of money into, it seems like it makes sense to do all these, to sign all these contracts, and then it just doesn't work out. And also, goaltending. The goaltending has been atrocious for Buffalo this year. And that's something that we thought would get a little better heading into this year, and it just hasn't.
When you have two young goalies, it's you're risking a lot. I still think that won't be as highlighted by the end of the year. I don't think that Levi or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen are going to be the reason that they keep losing. But I just think as a whole, they don't have they're missing, it feels like a person. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a top goal scorer. That'd be great. Take one of those too. But it's just someone to really just take it by the scruff of the neck, because they're just, that Columbus game yesterday was crazy. If you watched it, it was just back and forth. They'd get back to the game, and literally a minute later, they would just score on them. Columbus. And it was just there's just that mental lapse where it's not that they're not trying. Like, I know people say that all the time. It's like, it can honestly sometimes be the opposite when you're just overdoing it. Like, you look at someone like Cousins, like, you can tell that guy cares and he's going around, but it's like you kind of just are skating hard at people. That doesn't mean you're thinking and making the right plays and doing the right thing. If anything, you're playing almost out of fear, which is just, that's why I'm already pretty worried about them. The chat, I think, has already agreed. They're in full panic mode and worried.
This might be controversial. I'm kind of like neutral at ease.
Oh my goodness.
That's insane.
In a way where wait. In a way where, and we talked about it on the tier list, and maybe it was me and you that we're just like, we don't expect this team to be good this year.
Yeah, but that's the
You
main
didn't-
That's the problem.
That's
How
not-
long have we been expecting the Sabres to be good? It's like
I
year
don't
after
think
year.
that's obviously an organizational problem going back a lot of years. That's fine.
You didn't think they were going to make, heading into the year,
This was the one year that I looked at everyone after their first line of like, it's Tage and Tuck and you've got Cousins, but it's just like you're relying on a lot of young guys like with Jack Quinn and with
You didn't even have them in like a
with
wild
Zach
card
Benson.
fight.
No, not at all. I didn't
Wow.
think this team was good enough on paper to be there.
I understand it, by the way. I'm just saying, like, I get it. I mean, all you're saying is your
Organizationally,
expectations are
yeah.
so low, which hurts actually even more.
It's not that they were low. It's more just like when you look at teams kind of in a similar spot with a lot of young guys that have grown up in this team together with, like, if you're going to use Ottawa as an example, defensively, like you've got Shabbat and you've got Sanderson, like Darlene, Power, whatever. You can compare a lot of the pieces 1-to-1, but it just seems like Ottawa has surrounded their group with like veterans that also have some more skill, and their young players have maybe developed a little quicker and turned into stars a little faster. And obviously Zach Benson, like, and Jack Quinn, we didn't expect those guys to be like Drake Batherson level already. Like, they're still really, really young.
Wait, Quinn got taken out of line, like Kulik, at least. The very least, they have young players who
For
are
sure.
doing
I think
well.
it's just going to take them a little longer now. Again, we can argue about the organizational stability in that sense, where it's like, okay, it's another round of like, okay, you've drafted prospects that I think a lot of people like. Now they have to take the steps that obviously doesn't happen overnight, and it's going to take some time. We can argue about the merits of like how they've gone about this, of trading their stars and being backed into these positions. I think we can also argue about the merits of like, why did you hire Lindy Ruff again? Like,
I understood it when it happened. I was excited. Like, I got it. It kind of felt like they were giving Granato the PE teacher vibes
sure.
treatment, where they're like, cool, man. Like, they all smile when they go to work, and people retire that. That's a tough job. So when you got fired, you don't want to see anyone get fired. But the only reason you thought that maybe Lindy might be the guy was because you wanted maybe like a more stern voice in the room. But anyways,
it just
let's move on to the next team.
It's the recycled coaching
yeah.
that just bothers me in these situations where it's like Lindy Ruff didn't have great success in New Jersey, and now you're bringing him in to coach a team that, again, has a lot of young talent like New Jersey did, and he wasn't able to get the best out of that group, and now you're expecting him to turn around a team that had less promise than the New Jersey Devils.
It's a joke.
It's a joke, yeah, ironically. Two things in the chat real quick. Nick Levin, who said, I wonder if Buffalo should just try to sacrifice some of their future to get themselves into the playoffs. That's actually a very popular idea of just like do something short term, but it feels so crazy to do that. But I understand the logic of wanting to do that.
They've been
maybe not
rebuilding
doing
for
it.
14
But
years.
to me, that's the problem, because
Like,
now if they don't get in this year, it just feels like they have to.
It feels wasted.
They also
Or
just
like they're
traded
rebuild again.
They'll and like good. McLeod is off to a good start. Like good for him. And like who knows, he can end up being a good player. But like they also gave up a really good prospect in Savoy.
Yes, potentially. We'll see how it plays out, but yes, it was very shocking when they did it. And then the last one, Craig says they had a truly baffling offseason as well. What's the point of buying out Skinner if you're not going to use the cap space? Which, again, yes, it hurts when I watch Skinner on the Edmonton Oilers, because I'm not saying it's like he's the difference, but like
He's a
some goals in there,
30,
man.
He's a
Some
viable
goals in there.
30-goal NHL player, and you just let him walk.
Red Wings. Speaking of teams.
Yeah! Here we go.
All right, we're done. Yeah, it's enough beating on the Sabres. Let's get into another team. It's them and the Senators who all get lumped together as the teams that are supposed to be taking that next step, and they have not. Now, after missing the playoffs in excruciating fashion in Game 82, Red Wings fans, they find themselves grimacing already, and it's only Game 5. They've also not made the playoffs for 8 straight seasons. Luca's laughing. I'm not laughing. I'm going to make that clear. I'm not laughing. It's been 8 straight seasons. They're already looking like 9 might be knocking on their door. Last night was a rough one against the Rangers. But Luca, where do you think that the Red Wings fans should be feeling.
Before last night, it was worried. After last night, it's full panic. And I don't know how it can't be. I truly don't know how it can't be.
I didn't change the graphic, by the way. So yours will say worried.
Oh, no, that's fair.
But
that's fair. It was worried before last night, and then last night happened, and now it's full panic because it's just like, I don't. We talked about it on the tier list if you guys watched it. I don't understand the direction of this team. I don't understand. Their best line and their best players have been good. Like Raymond, DeBrincat, Larkin. They've been good. They already split up that line, though, because they're trying to balance things out a little bit, and they put Patrick Kane on the first line, and that's been a disaster experiment so far for them as far as, like, expected goals percentage. That line, near the bottom of the team. Mo Seider playing with Ben Sherratt has been an awful experiment, like we all thought it probably would be, because we are not high on Ben Sherratt being a number one pairing defenseman. That is just a bad idea to play with such a young, offensively talented player like Mo Seider. Not going well. Justin Hall's playing on the second pair now with another young guy in Edvinsson that we have a lot of high hopes for. And
he had a nice pass last night.
I'm really into Edvinsson. I'm really into Seider as well. I don't think that their potentials can be fully realized with the players that they are currently playing with, but this is all of Yzerman's doing. These are players that he has signed and given big money to come in here, and it's just a weird lineup. It's a strange lineup. This offseason, all you did was go out and sign Vlad Tarasenko. That was your big move. That was the move that was going to get you over the top after losing so much in free agency as well. We went over the number. They lost like 70-plus goals out of their lineup last year, and all you did was bring in Vlad Tarasenko and bring in Cam Talbot to secure your creep.
He had a good game, at least one, and then not good.
And then not so much last week. But what they've done already is they've started three goalies in 5 games. Huso has started a game. Lyon has started a game. And Talbot has started 2. What is the direction? What is the plan? You have a young goalie that I think we're all excited about, and I'm not saying throw him in because that obviously can go bad, but like it can't be worse than this, can it?
It always can be.
Which goalie are you referring to?
Sebastian Cossa.
Cossa.
They also have, didn't they also draft the guy from Michigan State who played for USA last year?
I have no idea. But all I'm saying is, like, that might not be the solution. That's an easy Band-Aid to put on it where it's like, put the young guy in net like the Sabres did with Levi and just see what you've got in him, for sure. But it truly cannot be worse than what they've been getting goaltending-wise right now. And their numbers for their top players and, like, expected goals percentage for those lines are just abysmal so far to start the year that I'm in full panic. Where does this team go from here? You can't rely on luck again.
Trey Augustine.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't know. Does anyone feel differently? We got a lot of flack for where we put the Red Wings in the team.
No, it's weird. Like, listen, like I get it. Like, we all want, and maybe not we. I won't speak for all of you. I would like to see the Red Wings make the playoffs, just because it's like there's such a huge market that it's enough of having them down there. Like, you need Hockey Town to be a hockey town. But I can't help but agree with you after watching last night that at the very least I'd be very worried because it's not a great start. And they started off okay last year, actually. It was actually a decent start that had their fans excited.
They were hot.
And there was a reason for it, and they collapsed in March because I think Larkin was injured, and so it really kind of gave you hope. But it also feels like their fans are pretty at Lalonde as well, which is not
fair.
His seat might be hotter than any other coaches in the league right now. Yeah. I just want to say, though, that, like, I think Detroit has reason to be excited for their future. Do I think that the makeup of I agree with you, Luca, on, like, the current makeup of their team is not great. Like, it's like a mix of, like, old and, like, guys that are coming into the league, and, like, it just seems like it's just all not really coming together very well. But they do have some really good prospects to be excited about. And, Kane's probably going to be retired by the time these guys are good. But, like, Edmondson should hopefully be a good player. Danielson he should hopefully be like a good two-way player for the team. I don't think he oozes with skill or anything. I wasn't overly impressed with him, to be honest with you, at the World Juniors, but he should be like a decent two-way forward. And they also have Axel Sending Palika, who's going to be gross. He's going to be disgusting.
I was sad when we missed out on it. I saw that when the names were going away.
Yeah, they have Wallinder. They've got Marco Kasper. Like, there's reason to be excited as a Red Wings fan. And, like, they have these goalies, too. Like, they have Costa. They have Augustine. Like, I think their crease is actually in pretty good hands going forward. Right now, it's not good, though. right now, like the team does not look good. But could they be a team that's like good in the next few years? I think so. In like 2 to 3 years. But yeah, their current makeup of their roster is nothing great.
Chat, have at it. What do you think? We've said worried to full panic. Again, I'll go through some of the ones I already kind of see in here. There's Michael Lapierre who says the Yzer plan's already cooked, which, again, unfortunately, kind of doesn't feel great. Blinker Fluid with a great point. Like, there's a lot of teams that are kind of sucking to start the year, and maybe that, I don't know, it feels more panicky like than last year. And because usually you want to pause and go, it's only been 4 or 5 games. But some of these teams we're discussing, like I do genuinely understand why we're asking the question already this quickly. And I don't think it's just because we're like, nitpicking.
Well, Jesse brought up their prospects. This team isn't supposed to be like a
That's the main
future team.
point.
This team is supposed to be a now team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
And
captain, your first line is filled with guys who are like established players
For sure.
in their prime that are just dying to take this team to the playoffs, and it's just not working.
They're
And
not good enough.
It's just that whole.
just not good
It's
enough.
the fear of the void, because for a team that, like you said, supposed to be competing now, we're already looking ahead to the future. And then is their core of prospects that great where 5 years from now we're gonna feel better about them than we do now? I don't know. It's just like, where is the direction?
All right. Well, again, the chat seems to be in agreement. There's a lot of full panics, worrieds. Seven Curses says, as a Red Wings fan, I never understood why everyone thought they were going to make the playoffs this year. They have been a few years away for a while, and they overperformed last year. I think people are in the middle there, and that's okay too. To the left of my head, the right. There we go. That direction. You're probably seeing right there. It's a little bit of a lineup of what we're doing today. Right now, we're talking about all the teams that we think at least should be considering what their panic meter looks like. And then, as you'll see, we'll be getting on to a bunch of other topics later on. So stick around, because we're going to be live for a full 2 hours. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the new Bardown channel already, go ahead and do that. That's right. You're watching this on a new channel. It's not on the TSN channel. It's on the Bardown one.
The more you subscribe, the more videos we get to make.
It's as easy as that.
Make some cool, fun hockey stuff. And these graphics on this live stream have been electric. I really like that little graphic on the side of your head there.
Oh, yeah. That's Thomas's work right there.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Appreciate
Incredible.
it, guys. Thank you.
Incredible
Happy to be
work.
here.
Let's move on to a team that I know people are just itching to hear about. It's the other team when we talk about them. People start throwing punches. Whoa! The Vancouver Canucks, which I actually think this is going to be the easiest one of this entire discussion.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. They've been tense between us and Canucks fans, but perhaps not as tense as things have been before Vancouver's OT winner against the Panthers that gave the Pacific Division champs their first win of the season. They're on the board, but some fans still on Petey. Should they be? And how do you think you'd be feeling if you were a Canucks fan after last night's big win, actually?
For the record, personally, from what I remember, I've never really had beef with the Vancouver Canucks. I like them.
They think we're scared of them at this point, which I don't think is the vibe. I think it's more just like prepare for a shoot off.
Oh, I'm ready.
Right now, first of all, I think last night was a really big win for the team. Like one that they needed. You beat the defending champs in overtime. It's pretty electric. Obviously you're not feeling quite as hopeful as you were last year, given the way the start of the season's been, but I think they only have one regulation loss the whole year so far. I'm going to say that Canucks fans should be feeling neutral. I think there's reasons to be hopeful that the season can still be good. But I think there's some reason to worry for sure. I think mainly like your goaltending situation, like you don't really know. Does anyone know like what's going on with Thatcher Demko when he's supposed to come back?
I don't think they have like an immediate they don't have like a hard and fast timeline.
We don't know, and that's the thing, and like that's very concerning.
The chat's already riling up that you're neutral.
No, listen.
I'm honestly surprised.
I thought you were gonna.
I was expecting better than
I was
neutral.
expecting at ease.
Yeah, I was
expecting.
No, I mean,
was expecting.
no. But the reason why I'm neutral is because there is still reason to worry about this team. I mean, again, you look at the goaltending situation.
That's it. But is it like, are you underlining that like they have like faults or weaknesses, or are you saying like, because I think this is like a panic meter of like you're far below expectations.
I don't think saying a team is neutral is like that really panic. I think it's actually, there's reason to be
You're positively neutral.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think being neutral is a bad thing, but like also like, hey, I love Petey, but Petey has not been productive this year. You just threw a bag at him, okay, and he just like hasn't been very good. I think Luca was saying yesterday that like Petey has 2 goals in his last 29 games or something. Like that is
0 at 5-on-5.
yeah, that's reason
wild.
that is reason to be concerned, okay? And I don't think Vancouver's been scoring quite like they haven't been scoring at a crazy rate this year or anything. And their top players have been like good, not great. And I think that, the Pacific Division is pretty competitive if you take into account like the Oilers are going to figure it out. Vegas is still a pretty good team. Vancouver should be in that mix, but yeah, I'm not going to say it's like full chill or like feeling pretty good. I would say there's reasons to be like not that excited if you're a Canucks fan, but also like not panic that much.
Chris Nelson has your back on that, by the way. Said, no matter what they say, we disagree.
Yeah, good. Thanks for the honesty.
And trust me, we know. So, yeah.
Thank you for the honesty. Yeah, I mean, I don't like, I don't know, like, should Canucks fans be like, oh yeah, like we're making the playoffs?
Yeah, like, listen,
know.
they're playing a lot of free overtime hockey. So it's not like
Are
a
people
great...
going at me for doing neutral?
No, it's just people that disagree. It's fine. You're good. It's...
Let's go here.
He's pretty bad. But yeah, I don't know. Chat, how are you feel? There's a lot of neutrals I already see in there, but chat, why don't you let us know? We'll come to a nice conclusion. I assumed you're going to put at ease, but after your explanation, I also understand. It's pretty subjective meter anyway.
They just threw a bag
neutral.
at Petey, and he just like has not.
Did he catch it?
Did he catch the bag? Not yet.
We'll see.
He's juggling it.
He's juggling it. Yeah.
Hasn't
Hopefully
fumbled.
he doesn't fumble.
Fumble's not the same. He's juggling it.
We'll figure it out though. I have
Yeah.
confidence in Petey.
Yeah. No, he's a yeah. Well, it's still nice that you have a star player. That's all I'm saying. Anyways. So moving on.
They have several star players.
Yeah, they've enough. Yeah, rub it in a little more. It's fine. That was it. That was all it takes. We had the Oilers in here at some point. I forgot I took that out. Late at night.
I've been sitting here being
He's
like,
been waiting. I just realized actually.
I'm ready for the
No, I'm
Oilers.
sorry.
I'm ready for the Oilers.
I believe Riz, our man on the boards. We have Edmonton graphics.
Put him in.
They won last night, and after they won, I was kind. See, he changes answers, so we won't go with
I
what
was
the.
full chill.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would've been
Put it up on the screen.
That's why I'm doing the cold.
Is that what we had? He's doing the Cole Palmer. Yeah, well, we'll agree with him anyways. You're going full chill. The Edmonton
They won
Oilers,
again, yeah.
I won't even tee them up because they won again, and it feels a little silly to even really be thinking of them. There we go. He's
Just
got
stop
full
doing this every year, Connor. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's it.
You don't have to lose the first several games of the season just to make it interesting. But no, everything's fine in Edmonton. It'll be fine, and they have one goal, and it's playing hockey in June. It doesn't really matter what they do in October.
What are your thoughts? You feel the same way about the goaltending, that it just won't really matter until they get to the playoffs?
Yeah.
Is there any reason to be concerned about the goaltending?
I just think we know what they have. We're not expecting like a Vezina Witter in between the pipes. Like if Skinner's just solid, if he gets hot at the right time, like
Made it to the
McDavid.
Cup final with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, as you can see, it's a sign of the screen there. We've moved on from the panic meter now. We are on to Don't Think, Just Tweet. We've discussed 5 teams now. So where's my math there? 6 teams.
6 teams.
Now, I tried to make it 5, and Thomas said,
I gotta
you
get
doing?
Edmonton in.
Nope.
nope. Although, to be fair, he was like, hey, my turn. Then he spoke for 10 seconds. but that's fine. I like that. Well, let's move on. I like it. Don't think, just tweet. Question number 1 is for you, Jesse. Who has the better chance of going 82-0? The Jets or the Flames?
Wow.
Wow.
82-0.
82-0, baby.
Wow. Hard hitting question right here.
We're real journalists.
You know what?
It's gonna happen.
It will.
I'm gonna say the Jets. Surprise.
They will.
But simply, and obviously Calgary's been getting it too, but
Yeah.
like Connor Hellebuck's been playing out of his mind through 3 games. He's been unbelievable. I don't know how the Jets keep doing it, but defensively, the Jets are just shutting things down right now.
Yeah.
They really don't, on paper, do not have a good, that good of a defense. Like really, they don't. But they just find ways to get it done. They play very hard, and I don't know. They're such a nice. It's been a nice surprise, best start in franchise history. One thing I will say though is, as good as the defense is right now, you can't help but wonder in the back of your head already, come April when we have to play a team potentially like the Avalanche again, is this group going to be good enough? Because against Colorado, we got exposed. Our back end got exposed. And we even lost some guys from last year on defense, which is crazy to think about. We should technically be worse. So I don't know. I'm still gonna go with the Jets, but nothing against Flames fans here. I've been very impressed with the Flames so far, especially given they were my number one team that I wouldn't want to be heading into the season. And now you're seeing reports that they want to even trade for players to help them this year. But I don't know. Again, it's early in the season. I would not be surprised if both of these teams at some point ended up, again, it's like a team in the middle of the season goes on a 3 or 4 game winning streak. Great. And then it can all just come back down to earth very quickly. But I'm going to go with the Jets simply because they're just the more elite franchise.
The Jets pretty much, the Jets pretty much in agreement with our ludicrous question, which obviously is just on who do you think will continue their form more than anything. But one little follow-up question to that, because like the Flames are doing this very surprisingly with getting rid of Markstrom, who is doing very well right now with the Devils right now. So discussing your goaltending, like Helly, Vezina, happening, like
Already, of course. I mean,
would you lock it in right now? Like is this your prediction for the Vezina? Did you already do that? I don't even know. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't watch the video of the season preview.
I mean,
We didn't do predictions.
I was sick.
I mean, Shesterkin's also incredible.
Okay.
Like, that guy is a complete stud.
I wanted to guarantee you. So if you didn't give it, I'm moving on to the next one. It's okay.
Montembeau looks pretty good too.
What?
To start the season.
He does. He does. You like the goals against for him, or it's like is league high, and I think he has the league high goals saved above expected.
Yeah. No, he's been great.
I'm still gonna go with Helly, but
You're not going Montembeau?
no, I'm going with Helly. But we need to see it in the playoffs too, Helly.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. This one here is for Luca. Thomas, I promise I'm not skipping you.
This is wild.
It's wild. It's wild. This one. With the Stars locking down Ottinger with an 8x8 and Dallas having Hintz, Heiskanen, and Robertson locked in at deals under $8.5 million, do they officially have the best value for money core 4?
Well, Robertson is up in a couple of years and may get more than that. He might be 10 plus. But for value-wise, and like you could probably add in Wyatt Johnston after this year in that, make it a core 5. And with everything that's going on in Toronto, yeah, I give it to Dallas. I'd give the nod to them.
Anyone else in the
I
discussion
don't know
here?
who, because like value-wise, too, like you could say the Avs with if they want to lock up Rantanen and McKinnon, Makar, sure, but
What about the
money-wise for what they're paying, like I think I'd want Dallas's cap situation going forward.
Do you think you
What about the Oilers?
with that little tail end of what Lucas said there, which I do think is an important part of the question, even with it being Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl for like better value than they could have technically asked for,
sure.
I don't know if you can include them in that just because it's still a way higher number than these ones.
Paying Darnell Nurse.
Yes.
They're not knows a ton, but they're also paying right now. I think they're paying Evan Bouchard.
Well,
He's gonna be up.
next year is gonna be done for sure.
Yeah.
They're playing Tetris though.
And if we're talking about the Leafs as well, like Marner's going to be asking for a ton of money if they sign.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I think the Leafs core is kind of done in that. I don't think you'll find a better 5 players in the NHL to be locked up for that long.
David Rodriguez, he might have the best comment of the chat so far. With Ovi, Dubois, Strome, and Carlson locked up for the Caps, do they have the best?
Wait,
You know what? I've always loved Dylan Strome. I've always thought he's a really
take
good
his
player.
name out of there.
Yeah.
But the rest of your joke's hilarious.
What about like the Panthers have a good one? The Lightning have
like
a really
Kachuk
good
under
one.
10 is a nice
Kachuk under
deal.
10. Barkov's at 10.
You're paying Bob
Reinhardt-
10 though.
Devils, says
Bob-
Alex Sullivan. Is
Bob's
anyone going
up
to
next
go for them?
year
Devils,
anyway.
anyone?
Reinhardt's at $8.5 million.
I
You
just
stick
don't-
Forsling in there, who's getting paid like less than 7. Like,
Bob's up next year. I think, like, who would you want to start a team with 5 players, like a collection of 5 players? And Heiskanen?
Heiskanen. They kill you for that one.
They always are in
Heiskanen,
there.
sorry. Heiskanen, Hintz, Robertson, Ottinger, and Wyatt Johnston, all basically under $10 million. I
Pretty
think
good.
you're hard pressed to find, like, you can maybe find 3 players, like the Panthers, Barkov, Reinhardt, Kachuk, but then Forsling, I'd take Miro, and then who's your 5th for the Panthers?
I like how you went first name because you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't.
what about for Hagee?
I'd
Guy's like a 40 goal scorer. He's an absolute stud.
Jesse,
all these
what
guys
if
just want a
Pollock?
Stanley Cup. What?
It's a Jesse what if Pollock. I
say
like
like
it.
future wise though, like all of these guys are like 25 and under for this.
And just lastly on that one from the comments, Josh D. Pence, Crosby at 8.7 is unfair. It's crazy, man. Like, they're so lucky
For the
what they've had, and I get it. Like, they're not gonna, probably go far this year and win anything necessarily, but still, like, that's awesome that they have such legends on their team and have.
They're
had
awesome
for
that
so
they have someone who's so superstitious that he just
Imagine-
needs to
Yeah.
he needs to get
Gimme-
whatever his number
Yeah.
is or his
What if his
birthday
number
or
was
his
like
contract.
21?
What if his
He's
birthday
just
was
like-
March 7th?
Yeah.
That's what I think about sometimes.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Playing on $3.7 million.
Like,
for
would he
20
do
years.
it?
There's value.
Or does he jump to 37 million?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah,
He's
37
like
million a year.
full
Yeah,
greed.
he's just like
Yeah.
3.7 is too low, but I got to keep the 3.7 in there.
All right.
7.
Thomas, you're
sure?
up after this next one. After this next one.
Just trying to clear my throat over
Yeah,
here.
yeah. No, don't worry. Hey, Thomas looked me off like a quarterback. He checked it. I asked him for the Devils. And he went like this. He is so. Just playing it. Well, I'll look you off on this one. I'll look in your direction. This one's for Jesse. Actually,
Is it actually?
it actually is. Sorry, I just ordered it funny.
Welcome to the big leagues, buddy. Welcome to the big leagues.
I swear.
How does the
It's my
cooler feel?
it's my rookie lap.
You're cold, man. You were very chill earlier.
This thing plugged
Sorry,
up.
is this
Cold
on?
in the
Yeah,
cooler.
this
Is this
plugged in.
Yeah.
Look, we gave you the stage for the Oilers, and you're like, I'm chill.
Because
That was it.
it was like, oh, we took the Oilers off. Let's move on. So I was like, yeah, we don't need to talk about the Oilers.
You're in a cooler, man.
This was not intentional. All right, next one
Lay
for
it on
Jesse.
me.
The thoughts on, speaking, funny enough, of the Penguins there, that could have been my transition if I was professional, but I wasn't there. Thoughts on the Penguins sending Rutger McGroarty down?
What's my tweet about it?
Yeah, what's your thought?
Well, my tweet would be Rutger McGroarty getting sent down to the AHL is a good thing. And I think it's good for a few reasons. One, from what we've seen, it looks like Rutger's not ready to play in the NHL, and that's fine. That's totally okay. I think obviously there's been a lot of talk. A lot of people have been making comments about Rutger, saying all this stuff. Look, I don't know, and I'm not trying to say anything, but no one really knows exactly what happened with Rutger in Winnipeg, and I just think that we don't know. It might not just be because he refused to play for the Moose. Maybe there's more to it. I don't know, but what I am saying is that he's going to Pittsburgh. It doesn't seem like he's made that big of a deal about having to go to the AHL. And, I think Rutger's kind of getting humbled in a few different ways. Look, another guy in a similar situation, Cutter Gauthier, has not been good for the Anaheim Ducks this year. Similar situation. Maybe these guys who are coming into the league need to realize that it's a bit of a process and that you're not just going to be given this opportunity right away. And it's good to develop in the AHL originally.
Is there any kind of regret on your side of things? I don't say regret because, again, as you have already said, no one really knows what happened in the conversations between them. But with it being the case where he came up for, I think it was 3 games and went down, is there not at least part of your mind that goes, feels like the Jets maybe could have done that and this guy still could have been a part of your team there? It's not like he had to stay up with the team.
No, but it didn't seem like that's what Rutger wanted in Winnipeg. And again, that's why I'm saying no one knows the degree of what actually happened. And the only reason I say that is because look, the Jets are an incredible organization. I'm not trying to allude to anything, but all I'm saying is everyone is just talking so much smack about Rutger when we don't know. A lot of stuff could have happened behind closed doors between
sure.
Rutger and the Jets, and it seems from what we're seeing with the reports, things were actually handled with a good deal of class from both sides, considering the way that things panned out. I just think that Rutger is getting a little humbled right now, and I think ultimately this will be a good thing for him to go down to the AHL, and I think he's probably starting to realize that, and it's okay. I think he'll develop. He'll get his confidence up there, and then when the time's right, he'll go back to the Penguins, whether it's this year, whether it's next year. But I will say one thing: I'm feeling pretty damn good about Braden Yeager with the Jets. I'm feeling real
I didn't
good about
ask
him.
that, but that's good to hear.
Yeah, no, and that's another the quote tweet.
Yeah, you get-
Quote tweet. Braden Yeager, and I think what's going to happen with
Get on the wagon is what you're going to say.
what's going to happen with Yeager, just before we move on to the next topic, is the Jets are going to be able to do with Yeager exactly what they wanted to do with Rutger. Like, Yeager's going to play for Moose Jaw this year. He's probably going to play for the Moose next year. And then after that, I think in like 2 seasons, he's going to be up with the Jets. And that's a great thing. And he's from Western Canada. He wants to be in Winnipeg. He's excited to be there. And Rutger clearly just like didn't want to be in Winnipeg too. That's kind of the feeling that we're all getting as Jets fans. So good luck to him. And yeah.
All right. Well, to sum up, there's actually 3 messages there from Gang Nation, Brixie, and Kogi Surendran. Sorry, brutalized your name. But either way, all of them are just saying confident guy, and they all agree that when he was up here, it didn't necessarily seem like he was ready, and this will be better for his development anyway.
Sure.
Development's
I don't
so
know how
tough
you
in
could
hockey.
disagree about that. Sorry?
Development's so tough in hockey. Like,
It is
like
tough.
Dylan Gunther, for example, is a great person to kind of like have this conversation about, where he's like playing amazing for Utah. But I think
Took
like
time, man.
2 years ago, yeah, like we were, people were ready to give up on Gunther, I think, or just not have this feeling about him that we have now. And I think just compared to other sports, because I feel like we genuinely do that, as like NBA players, if you're picked in the first round, like you're likely probably playing pretty
Right
easily,
away.
right away, expected greatness out of immediately. And NFL, same thing.
Same
but like
thing.
hockey takes so much longer for these guys.
It's more similar to not like baseball. Baseball is
but
by far the most extreme
much more
example
similar.
of it.
And
but-
it's not like a shoe-in, like this guy is going to be really good. Like it's so much more random.
But it's
Yeah,
it's also on the players to trust the process.
Sure,
Right? And
sure.
it's like a lot of players don't, and they'll force their hand out of a certain situation because they're not content with what their situation is. And obviously I remember a while ago I was talking about the Rutger situation with the Jets and how like I felt like the situation wasn't handled particularly well, but like I don't know. Things work out the way they work out, I guess. And Rutger will get to where he needs to be, but now, he's been given everything he wants, and he just needs to do what he's told at this point.
All right. Well, Dylan Gunther, speaking of him, let's go on to
Great
Utah
segue.
here.
Is this for Thomas?
This
On
is
team.
this.
Wow.
This is for
Chris,
Thomas.
Can you check his levels?
Yeah, well, sorry. His mic actually might have died in
mic
between
test.
there. We don't know yet. But here's yours, Thomas. Out of the 5 youngest teams in the league, Utah boasts the best record so far. How impressed have you been with their start? You're the youngest one on our team here, by the way. too.
Wow.
That's why you got that.
That's why I got
Okay.
it.
Was thought of.
Let's go.
I'm seeing them as a young. This is the way I see Utah right now. For the first time, and I mean this is weird because they're kind of a new franchise, but I'm bringing Arizona into this. I'm actually excited about the direction of this team, and I actually feel like they're building something. I never really quite got that feeling when they're in Arizona. And you mentioned it, like guys like Dylan Gunther. Clayton Keller's been there for a while. He's been a stud, but it feels like the players around him now are also stepping up, and they actually have some core pieces to build around. The Sean Dursey injury is obviously incredibly brutal, and it's very, very tough, and they're going to have a very difficult time replacing him. But the West, I think there's a lot of room for a team to step up and really prove themselves as a playoff contender. Why not Utah? The city seems to be embracing them, and I just think they have a lot of young players that are looking like they're ready for it. And it's been a long time coming, but they're at the point now where it's a nice mix of guys who have been there and are sort of budding stars, and also still some younger players who are coming through the system. So to answer the question, very, very impressed.
Yeah.
And excited more than anything, because that's something I don't feel like I could have said about, obviously it was Arizona, but I don't think I could have said about the organization a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
And with have you guys played them yet? Have the Habs played
No.
Utah? Not yet. Okay, you just watch both of their games a lot, so
It's pretty amazing to see what a new owner can do for an organization as well.
yeah.
Like, really. It just, like, everything about that club feels just better right now. It seems like they were just rotting in Arizona.
yeah, no, but you had a pretty. I mean, I'm gonna say it feels like a bit of a hot take. You love their jerseys. Their
It's not
love
so much
was
that I
the
love
where
the
you.
jerseys.
I'm kind of neutral on them. I think they're cool and the colors are nice. I can see why you could like them. You said they're great.
I'm more about the colors, and I think when they pick a name, because of the branding that they already have, I just think that color scheme works really well. insert Jesse mentioning that they stole everything from the Winnipeg
So-
Ice.
They did, and they're about to steal their logo from the ice too.
Someone said there's a team before. There was the Kootenai Ice. Who were they before?
Kootenai
and they
Ice.
came up with the colors initially.
Yeah, but did they? I don't know. I don't.
I'm going to fact check this right
fact
now.
check it.
I thought the
We'll
Kootenai
fact check.
Ice's jersey colors were like the old Capitals ones, where they incorporated that like bronze or that copper in. Also, we should ask the people on social media which NHL team has the best color scheme.
You can ask the
in
chat
league.
right now.
Let's ask in the
Yeah,
chat.
Chat.
Which NHL team has the best color scheme in the league? Is it Utah? Is it
Utah's
another
pretty
team?
nice.
Utah's nice, obviously. I mean, sorry, Winnipeg Ices is nice.
Kootenai Ice.
The Utah Yeti.
Okay, but like, what other teams? I think Colorado has a pretty cool color scheme.
I like St. Louis, especially when they throw back a little bit.
Yeah,
Kootenai definitely looks a little more like Washington than
yeah.
it is.
They had.
So
they
you're
incorporated
saying
the
you're
bronze.
debunking it then? You're saying it is
yeah,
Winnipeg.
yeah. It's more
Okay.
it's more Washington than it is Winnipeg Ice.
Rangers, people are saying Seattle, a lot of Seattle,
Yeah.
Vegas,
Yeah, Seattle's
Pittsburgh.
cool. Yeah,
We're all,
Seattle's cool.
To be honest, we're all over the map. There's a lot of people. I see a lot of Bruins, a lot of Seattle.
We should make a graphic for
Seattle.
that after and post it on social.
We can get to it.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
I was gonna say Sabres.
Yeah,
and it's not
Sabres
even
is
that
a great
jersey. I mean the regular royal blue and
Yeah.
and yellow.
Sabres is a great one.
Yes. Okay. Now it's time for our clip of the week. And
too.
while yes, it was. It's time for our clip of the week. And while it was an easy pick, it's a difficult moment, unfortunately. The clip that we chose this one, like it was an absolute like no brainer for this one. It was the home opener Tuesday night for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They obviously had that touching tribute, which we're gonna put on screen in just a moment. But they paid tribute to Johnny Gaudreau by having that left wing position just vacant there, and then they had the 13 seconds of silence as they ran off the clock. Yeah, like you could see just how much it meant to Johnny's family being there too, and then just people in the crowd, and just like how emotional it was. It was yeah. It's you guys. I'm sure. Yeah, you got.
Yeah,
Of course. Also,
Yeah, you got a Columbus shirt on.
have to rock it today. Jackets, and they're looking pretty nice.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, well, here's the actual clip of it there. Man, it still like doesn't feel real. But at the same time, like kudos to like the Blue Jackets. What they've done so far is really trying to commemorate him and his brother's memory here, because like they've done just such a wonderful job with it, and it really was tough to see just like people crying in the audience, and even tougher to see his family when they were putting his number in the rafters. But same time, it's great to see that community and that family hopefully can at least start healing and really just remember those two brothers just the way they deserve to be. So that is easily our best clip of the week here.
and just another clip from this game when Sean Monahan scored at one point.
Yep.
It was like,
Amazing.
oh my God, how could you not just get goosebumps after watching that? It was the most incredible thing. And just want to say as well, I've said this before, but the Columbus Blue Jackets have some of the best fans in the league. And I feel like a lot of people don't even necessarily realize that because they're a bit of a smaller market, but they just always show up. And like they're amazing, and the whole organization it really seems just come together, and it was a very emotional night.
Yeah, no, it was great to see, and as you said, like the moment there with Monahan, like these are things that you're gonna remember forever, and this is how like it's nice that they can still add to his legacy, even though obviously unfortunately he's passed and gone, but the memories, they're still being built, and it's just been great to see how they've celebrated that. So again, our condolences to the family, and there's no real easy way to kind of move on to our next thing here, as we are going to be looking at other clips and whatnot. But it puts things into perspective for sure. But yes, great job, Blue Jackets. We are going to take a look now at our best goals that we have. We've got 3 clips for you guys here. There was a lot to pick from to start this one.
Some fire.
But we're going to start with our first one where the Avs are involved.
Oh yeah, I know which one.
Sorry, they are in there. Riz, let us know when you got the clip going. It's giving us a little nice countdown. Ooh, this feels
Oh,
so
yeah.
pro.
Oh,
Here it is. So it's Barbashev.
Transition too.
He actually
Yeah,
he gets
it's
the
been
pick
great.
here. Ooh, just right past Gerard.
Yeah.
The backhand. So
There's
gross.
nothing sexier
So
than a nice
gross.
backhand shot. Like it's I mean the move is beautiful, but then like a backhand like that is just honestly one of the nicest shots you could have in hockey. Like if I'm
the
power
timing of
ranking
it, too.
shots.
Like the defenseman's stick was literally like
Yeah.
an inch off either way, and that puck's getting deflected way out, and it just finds the top corner. Very nice.
That's
He's been really good this year.
That's our contestant number 1.
4 goals.
Here's number 2 that we got going here for you because we got 3 options for you. It's Zach McEwen here.
Oh, this one was.
I was
close.
watching the game.
Dang.
You couldn't even see that thing.
Tee it up, Zach.
Teed up, and it was rolling. It was rolling, and he still hit it like so clean. I honestly can't remember the last time I saw like a shot hit that clean.
Tee it up, Zach.
He only played 5 minutes in this game too, and he scored 2
all you
goals.
need, 2 goals.
Yeah.
What
two
a
rips.
beast.
That
You
this
couldn't
goal
even
just
see-
sums up that game. 'cause it was
Look
just-
at
It was
look
so-
at his
it was like
face.
20
He's
goals that
shocked
game.
it went in.
Yeah, he was shocked, but absolute rocket.
Howitzer.
And our third goal here that we have.
Oh yeah.
This one, I actually changed it. I had to add this in. The whole shift is great. It's in overtime here with Leo Carlson. Just look at his controls.
Oh,
Hold
he's
on to
so
it.
he's a stud.
He has been excellent. Ooh,
See the goal here.
this is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bang.
Oh, that's nice.
See you later.
That is
Good night.
That is sweet.
It's tough because like that one is like it's a beautiful goal, but it really feels like this. It's the whole shift.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of
like
makes
he,
it.
he
But
dominated the entire overtime. there.
yes, of the choices that we have there, fellas, we gotta vote here. We got 4 people. This is tough. So maybe we'll have Riz as our deciding vote. Or no, sorry, we have the chat. Sorry, Riz, that was
We have the
rude.
chat.
The chat will
But we
decide.
have several people in the chat.
We have many people. What we'll take they'll tie break for us on vibes. But what are you guys, Luca? Who are you nominating there?
Oh man, it's between Barbashev and Carlson. I love a backhand goal. Like it was, you have to be so precise for that shot to go top corner after dangling someone like that. So I'm going Barbashev, even though it was against my team. I'm going Barbashev.
Okay, Thomas.
I'm going McEwen just because I love the
What a rip.
the old fashioned.
Such a nice rip, man.
Yeah, like how often do you see that? Just
Yeah.
slap shot right in the
You
top corner.
couldn't see it. It was that crazy.
But like,
I'm going with Carlson simply because
Wow.
it's the only
split.
it's the only
We're
goal
split.
that the goalie actually like reasonably gave up. Like about the other 2 goals, the goalie should have had.
You thought the goalie should have had McEwen shot. You couldn't even see that thing.
Dude, it was
a
on the
laser beam.
blue line.
Yeah, but it was a laser. That was crazy.
That
that
thing
one,
just had
that's
eyes.
like
they gotta have shot speed on that. That's like
That's-
140 for sure.
One timer.
yeah. It grew. Okay. It was an absolute. This guy doesn't like goals.
Should have saved it.
Say
I'm
it
just
should have
saying.
saved on that.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Shot from the blue line, man. No traffic in front. That
Couldn't see
absolutely
it.
should have been saved.
Absolutely should have been saved.
When a
Seems
puck
crazy.
is going
That
170
fast?
miles
That's
per
like
hour.
saying every fastball that comes down the plate, it's like you gotta hit it, man.
Man,
It's
can
over-
we play
it's
the
over
goal
plate.
one more time? Can we play the goal one more time?
It's over the plate. You gotta hit it. 105. I don't care. You gotta hit it. Like that's not
Zach
true.
McEwen muscled that 190 miles per hour. How is anyone supposed to stop that?
Did it even break 95?
For
Can
sure
we
it
watch?
did.
Can we watch?
We don't have
Is there
the
a way
speed
to
on
get
it.
the speed on that?
Nah, we don't. Riz nodded as if that was a real
Can we
question.
watch the clip again?
Riz is like, I can't do this. Chat, why don't you decide for us? Of the choice that we have here, there were some ones that they wanted in here. The Malkin one was kind of a good call just because for the 500th.
Malcolm goal was sick.
Unfortunately, out of spite, I can't do that because it happened.
That is an absolute smoke.
Should have had that is actually crazy. Like,
Is
what
it
do you-
crazy, man?
Yes, man.
NHL goalie stopping a slap shot with no traffic from the far left side of the blue line. I don't think it's like that
You
outrageous.
strip
to say
the
it should be
you
stopped.
strip the context of the speed of the shot.
When
It's
the
not
puck
just
is
any
going-
slap shot.
we don't
when
even
the
know the
puck is
speed.
going 250 miles
we don't
per
know the
hour.
speed.
We don't know the speed.
Well, it looks
I think
fast.
faster shots in traffic have been stopped. It was
Not-
a very nice
not-
shot.
not
It was
with
a very
that
nice shot.
accuracy, though.
It was a very nice shot.
Oh, actually, sorry. Goalie goals should have been mentioned. So
Yeah,
that's what people
Oh,
think.
yeah, Gustafson.
That's a
And he's a
miss.
big fan of Bardown, too.
Ooh.
It feels like a miss.
Ooh, that's kind of a miss. We don't have the clip, but we
What a
could
miss,
vote
eh?
for it.
No, I'd still
Goalie
vote
goals,
a miss.
but like goalie goals kind of belong there.
You know what was
You know what
cool?
though? I'm just gonna do. I'm just gonna take because we got to go on to the saves anyways. None of you agreed. None of you even said the same clip. we're just gonna go Gustafsson. Gustafsson is now our
Gustafsson
leaderboard.
for the win.
It's a
It was cool
goalie
that
goal.
it was
We'll
a-
split
It
it.
was a power play goal too.
The goalie
Yeah,
would just
which
save
is
guys.
crazy.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Goalie. The goal from the bench.
Has any goalie done that?
No
How
shot.
mad would you be
Yeah,
if like
it's crazy.
if you're Gustafsson and the other goalie? I forget who they were playing that night, but the other goalie just comes out and stops that puck from going. They probably count it as a goal
Yeah.
anyway, but like you don't get the moment.
Were they playing no, they weren't playing Devils. I forget who they were playing. Anyway.
Apparently the shot was 300 miles per hour. That's
Yeah,
what,
I think it was.
someone
Judging by the eye test. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on to our favorite saves of the week, so we can decide who is on the top of our leaderboard. Again, we're gonna keep this leaderboard going for all of our live shows, so that'll be the winner for the next one, and we'll have contestants for them to take them
Someone's
on.
got to beat Zach McEwen's slapper. I don't.
No,
think
that's
it's
not there.
happening.
Now
Ah,
he lost.
happening
He
enough.
lost.
Because it was a muffin from the blue line.
It was a very savable shot.
Calling that whatever. Let's move on. The saves. Let's say
one-timer.
calling it
Who was
very
in net-
saveable
who
is
was in-
actually crazy.
Who was in net for that?
Why? What's
for that goal?
The context for that does not matter.
And that's not getting past Hellebuck. I'll tell you that for free.
Unless it's game 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4, 5.
I'm
or
just
Roll
going
the
six.
clip
to
anytime,
that.
Riz, by the way. I'll tee it up as it's up. But the first one should be, unfortunately,
Oh,
the Sabres are in here a couple times. Markstrom's save. This is
Oh,
game
that's
1.
incredible.
Look at the paddle.
Oh yeah.
Nice save.
It's a rob. I love the
That's incredible.
scramble where it's just like the last ditch efforts.
Desperation.
Is it Paterka? It's not like Paterka made even a bad.
It was Obey Kubel, by the way.
Oh wait, Kubel.
Oh, yeah. Stanley Cup champ.
He did everything that he could to try to put that in. Also, like it was kind of an awkward play.
Stanley Cup Denter, I think,
Yeah.
is more.
No, it was Chris
More impressive
McDermott.
title.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that wasn't
I
Obey
always
Kubel.
think
It
it's
was
him.
Obey
versus-
No, it was. No,
Oh,
McDermott
sorry,
dropped the
McDermott
cup.
dropped it. Yeah.
Yeah.
McDermott's the one that fell.
Wow, Luca's trying to gaslight.
Yeah, I'm trying. Obey Kubel did.
All right.
What a beast.
What a beast. Next save we got here. Unfortunately, it might be the Sabres again. Nope, sorry. I went Ingram here against the
yeah.
Islanders. Again, he had another great save in this very game, but it's the desperation that I always kind of love, but
Yeah.
just hopping right back into the net. Should he have scored here? I think it's Paul Mary. Yeah, probably, but good
I mean,
desperation. It's a good grab.
Should he have scored for like? Yeah, you'd think that when you're looking at an empty net, you're just like, I just
You're
gotta
like
put
cage
this
is
on
open.
net.
Yeah, you're not
Exactly.
looking at like corners or any of that.
You're not picking top right corner thinking Connor Ingram's not gonna dive out in front of it.
I'll tell you this one. Hellebuck would have had that.
Hellbuck's
Yeah,
bad.
he
You would have had that.
Yeah, just like Ingram.
Yes.
I still think 9
Yeah.
out of 10 times Hellebuck saving that McEwen shot. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
The next one is actually the Sabres again.
Oh,
this
is
one's
this Kemper?
Kemper, who did not save McEwen's shot. That was, I believe, he was in.
He was in net.
Yeah.
It would have been Kemper.
It's another paddle.
Oh.
It's another. What I really love about this one though is he's caught. Play the clip one more time again, Riz. Look at the beginning of the clip where Kemper is. Like he's got some action going on in his crease where it's like he kind of has to get himself out of the way so that he can even get in position for that dive.
Yeah, there's a
He's
guy
like,
right in his way.
Yeah.
and he still gets in there.
I get what you're saying.
So he's like, all right, dude.
Man, these are all tough to decide.
Yeah, it took like some good skating from him there. Like
Yeah.
that.
When you watch it from this angle, though, he's clearly
kinda
like,
shoots it in.
yeah, he's shooting it on the far side. Which I mean, again, same thing. It's an empty netting.
tough
It's
to
in a
do in the
wraparound.
moment.
You're not
But-
thinking of that necessarily when you see empty cage.
For sure.
So IMU's his greatest save in Utah history. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, right now.
Best save ever.
Best save ever.
Best save ever.
I'm
Are the
going.
Sabres just getting goalied? Are they really a good team?
No, and no, I can tell you that. From watching the games, that they did get goalied against the Kings.
They're allowing enough goals against.
It's their power play. We didn't even talk. Anyways, we won't go again. They have no power play goals, and they've actually looked like pretty decent 5-on-5, but not great. But
Work
anyways.
on the power play in practice instead of fighting each other. Anyway.
Thanks, man. So
Pox just firing shots. I love it.
It's great to do.
I like that they scrapped.
I don't.
I didn't.
No.
I like it. I like it.
It's
Why
only
not?
worked one time in NHL
like it.
history. It
Shows
was the
the-
Blues, and now everyone thinks it's gonna work.
Shows a little emotion for a team that's been just perennially bad
But, like,
for
your
14
your
years.
cap-
You may as well try something.
your
Your captain
captain-
shows a little emotion.
Your captain kneecapping a guy.
Like a
in
young
practice
guy, too.
And then punching
Yeah.
him. It's
Wicked.
crazy.
Also,
was
when the
wicked.
Blues did it, it was like Robert Bortuzzo
Yeah,
and
like-
Zach Sanford, not Rasmus
no,
Dahlin.
but this is your captain sending a
Incredible.
message. Keep your head up in practice.
Message received. I don't like the guys on my team.
I liked it. I liked it. Was I to see something from the Sabres? To see something? Throw me a freaking bone here, Kevin Adams. Throw me a bone.
Kevin Adams.
Mole.
Okay,
Bull.
we got decision to make. Chad, help us decide there. What do we got? People keep saying the Ottawa goal is 92 miles an hour.
Oh,
I think
man, what a crazy
I think it's
clap
92
off.
times 9.
I
is what
agree.
they mean.
In light years. Either than 92 light years.
Was it Kemper that let that in?
We said that already. Markstrom's all the way from an Arrow and the Devils fan. We've seen a lot of Markstrom love in here. A lot about the Utah ones, but we're ultimately, I guess, going to have a vote in here too. So, Luca, who's your save?
I'm going to go. I love the desperation of the Ingram save. And, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just skating around the net, having to come all of that distance, going with Ingram.
Okay.
They're all really close for me, but I think I'm going to go Markstrom.
Wow.
Are we going to have
Okay, are we splitting
another
again?
debate again?
I guess I can help.
You know what?
decide. There we go.
It kind of sucks because the Kemper one had the tools to be the nicest, but whoever took the shot kind of shot it like at his blocker.
Yeah, they-
When I saw that last angle, I was like, I'm not really as sold on that one.
I didn't sell you
So-
on that he had to shuffle to get there. Didn't
No,
work.
plus,
Okay.
plus he let in that whiff of a shot.
Yeah, dude.
So I'm done with Kemper.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go with Ingram too.
Okay.
We got 2.
I'll lock in Ingram there because also he deserves it because he had probably the worst luck of any goalie at one point. Did you guys see that Keandre Miller goal where it went off the boards and just went in? That was the weirdest goal. That could have been in our goals of the week. He just hit it off the boards and
like
I
a
think
bad bounce off the
terrible
boards.
bounce and went
Brutal.
right into the net because he went behind the net right. So he deserves.
Tough.
Yeah, Connor Ingram and the Utah Hockey Club. You guys,
Lots of W's for that team.
lots of
lately.
W's here for that team.
Great
so yeah,
jerseys.
great jersey. I like
Love
the
to see
jerseys.
it.
Yeah.
The original.
Best color scheme.
Ingram. Ever? Before we move on to our next segment, once again, hopefully you're enjoying the show so far. We're going all the way until noon. It's another 40 minutes. You're going to see the rundown right next to my head. It's to my right and your right. I figured this out by now. But either way,
got it.
we got a few segments left. One of them is reevaluating our top 25 list. But before we get there, of course, if you are enjoying what you're watching, give the video a like. It tremendously helps us out. And of course, subscribe to our new channel. But is there anything else? Top 25. We have your lists again. We're going to go list by list here. And I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to reopen it because my hope is we're not going to do it this time. Maybe it's the main topic for the next live show, or maybe just another one. I'd love for us to make our own power ranking during the year of like, don't just put Connor McDavid as player number 1. Like go and like on pure just performance in 2024, 2025 and have a top 10 like power ranking list.
Ooh, I like that.
Might still be McDavid. That's fine too. But for now, let's start the conversation again by re-looking at your top 25 lists to see if you've changed your mind at all. Jesse, we're going to start with your list here. You said before we started filming that you were quite happy with your list. We have your list on screen here.
Well, I didn't actually say that. I just said there were a couple players on my list that I'm glad that I put them. I put them.
And I quote, my list is looking pretty good.
I don't know. Did I say that? All right.
Yeah, it's okay.
You guys trying to make me look bad. It's all good.
I don't think so. I actually agree with your list. I actually like your list.
Okay, honestly, looking back at my list, I would put Kucherov higher first and foremost. I actually think I would put him at number 3 right now. It's so easy to say that based off of like just like a small sample size, but I think it's just like year in year out, this guy's just proving that he's a complete stud. And I love Kuch. He's my boy. So one person who I didn't put on my list that I had a really tough time leaving off, I remember he was literally like my number 26 was Jack Eichel, and Eichel's looked amazing this year. Really happy for him. He's looking like a true franchise star. So I like him. Maybe I would replace Pettersson with him based off of like where they are right now, because Petey's just simply not playing like a top 25 player at the moment. I don't know. I guess I'm glad that I stuck Shesterkin in my top 20. Like,
yeah, he's looking like he's blown.
He's a star, and like the reason, Hellebuck's obviously amazing too, but Shesterkin is an incredible play. Like, I mean, he looked really good in the playoffs last year, so I'll give him that. And other than that, I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty pleased with my list. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people as of right now as well, but again, I would probably stick Kucherov a little higher.
So Kucherov high. So one thing I noted on your list versus the rest of the guys' list here, which I think Panarin does belong in the top 10, is what I'm going to say, because he was not in the top 10 on yours list. Doesn't mean you guys got to change your opinion on it, but no, it's okay. No, didn't even.
Wow.
I'll tell you who would have caught that. Darcy Kemper. This would have been all over the table.
Come on, man. They're like
92 mile per hour
right
spill.
Yeah. And that was righty, too. I went Jose Theodore. So let's go to Thomas's list. Thomas, let's check it out. Are you having any thoughts, second thoughts here on where you've placed anyone?
You were just talking about Artemi Panarin, and I feel like I was maybe a little too harsh on him. I think 18 is a little low.
He started great, and of course, you just knee jerk, but at the same time, like, he had 120 points last year, was it?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
He was
He's awesome.
outstanding last
I mean, I think I was just valuing players who maybe play a bit more of a complete game ahead of him.
Even like I know that like playoffs were kind of incorporated into these lists as
Yeah.
well.
He was solid last year, though.
He was good in the
miss a
playoffs.
beat.
He was
good in the
He
playoffs.
was
That's what we
good
said
in the
before the
playoffs.
show. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Thomas, isn't it like you're content with your list still?
The
Then?
one guy, well, I mean, Elias Pettersson at 20 is not looking that great right now, but I'm not going to be too overreactionary with him. The one guy that I wish I got on, and similar to what you were saying, he was like 26 for me, was Sam Reinhart. And I just think he has just continued to get better and better and better and better. He just looks like such a great, not only when he scores goals, but he just does so many things so well. So
I'd probably even put him higher on my list. I have him at 25.
you got him at 25. Yeah, I think
I'd
he
put him
can sneak
higher.
in like as high as 20 for me right now, just with how well he's playing.
Luca, how are you feeling about your list?
I don't know.
Let's take a
check
look.
it out.
Yeah, let's check it out. Luca doesn't even remember. He's like, I just say things and then I forget
Didn't you have
about
Thatcher
them.
Demko at 1?
No, I didn't, because he, again, has not remained healthy and hasn't played a full season ever.
Okay.
but
Like we
Canucks
knew
fans-
he wasn't going to be healthy going into the year. So
Canucks
it's a
fans
weird
lit
point
me
you're
the
trying to
hell up
make.
for that, but whatever.
And I'll light you up for that one. We knew he wasn't going to be in.
I feel solid about it, honestly. Like Panarin, maybe a little higher, but like, no, I think the same as you guys. Like Eichel and Reinhart are probably the next two names in, and I know at the time I said like Pettersson and JT Miller were in that conversation for me. I clearly valued defensemen a little more, but I'm happy I didn't have Pettersson in the top 25. I'm not happy for him. Like I obviously think he's a great player, but just I don't think he's one of the 25 best players in the NHL right now. And I think Jason Robertson maybe could drop a little, but like I believe in him as a player a lot. I think he's really good. The one name I was toying with was Wyatt Johnston, and maybe by the
Hot
end of
take.
the year-
I was gonna say hot take.
maybe by the end of the year.
From what I saw, I took a lot of Dallas Stars in my playoff pool last year, and from what I saw watching those games, I actually think Wyatt Johnson is better than Jason Robertson. I think he's a better skater. I think he's, I don't know. I think he was creating more last year. Maybe it was just a short stint in the playoffs, but like. I was so impressed with him.
People are excited about him. I don't think Star fans might be split on what you said, but I don't think anyone would look at what you just said and be like, what? So we'll see what they sign him to when he gets upset.
Robertson's amazing, but I just found like in the playoffs when the game was just a little faster, he just looked, maybe he was a little hurt too, but like he just looked a little slow. And I love Jason Robertson. Like he's oozes with skill.
I feel like this whole group
He's
does.
just slow.
I feel like-
He's a bit slow.
Okay, well, that's our list. I think, again, maybe the next show, that's when we'll get to our power ranking. We'll make our top 10 list. Doesn't null and void what you did for your top 25, but yeah, it's just a fun kind of power ranking. Now on to our Bin Boys item of the week. I am excited.
Bin Boys!
Bin Boys!
There it is. No
here-
reverb.
Yeah, no reverb. That was just a cappella. Here it is. I'm excited to show this. And Thomas, this has been picked out for you, kinda, sorta.
Wow.
Is it an Anze Kopitar frame?
People don't know that. Before we go, we used to have, and if you go back to some of the old videos, you might actually see it in the shot. We have an Anze Kopitar frame. Now we just have the jersey there. We don't anymore because just before we started filming one time, Thomas just like slightly moved back, and I don't know if he bumped something, and the whole thing flipped off, smashed all over his head, glass everywhere. It was like moments before we started filming, we actually thought he might have been stabbed. It was crazy.
Well, no, it was the back side of the picture. Though.
Yeah, but
the
my
glass
head
shot
cracked
out.
all the glass.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Got the Tin Man over here.
Tin Man. I'll tell you who wouldn't have caught that in the head.
Darcy Kemper.
Darcy Kemper.
Wow, this guy is just catching
92 mile per hour fall.
Yeah.
I heard it was 180 miles per hour.
Let's go to our
I saw
bin,
300 miles per hour.
our bin boys item of the week. Okay, there's no way
Wow,
you can
it's a
read the
Habs
text.
jersey.
It's a Habs jersey, but it's not just any Habs jersey. What is it that you're looking at? Well, Fanatics, they've become the first on-ice outfitter in nearly a decade to sell the authentic on-ice jerseys actually worn by the players in the NHL in the online shop. Because like the Adidas, they had the Made in Canadas or the MICs, if you've ever seen that kind of word floating around on Reddit or wherever. But that's what that means. But you have to go like pro shops to buy that, or they would just sell them like in the sales that they have in the team stores, and they were tougher to find. Now you can just buy this right off the rip. So $499 Canadian without a name on it. Are you guys in or out?
Absolutely not.
Do I get to sit on the bench with the players during the game for buying that?
No. And
Do I get to wear a jersey with one of the players?
and keep on, this is we showed a Habs jersey, but any team, obviously, it's all the same price.
That's
I think with the name, they're close to 600.
They're a lot.
Like-
It depends where you go, because most people they'll go to shout out Hockey Authentic. That's a great website. Gone to them. In fact, I think that Byfield jersey I have there. That's where I got that one. A lot of people send them in just to team stores and Cool Hockey. They also do a great job.
It's like they're nice. They're just that's so much money.
a lot.
And personally, I would rather just buy like a really cool vintage jersey. I actually have another jersey that I want to show you guys that I'm thinking of buying. I don't know if we should do it on cam, off cam, but let's just say it's an old Manitoba Moose jersey.
Oh, I
It's
love that.
So sick.
Johan Hedberg.
Yes, man. Wow. I'll show you guys after. So nice.
Who would you put on that Montreal jersey if you bought it?
I have a story about a blank Montreal jersey and who I put on the back
Lane
of it.
Hudson.
No, this was, I think I got it for my 17th, 18th birthday. Blank jersey. And I went, there's a place in Scarborough that does printing, and I got Jesperi Kotkaniemi on the back of the jersey.
Oh, that's tough.
That's so dark.
And it was
that's tough.
it was an outdoor game jersey, and
Oh,
Kotkaniemi wasn't even on the team for that outdoor game. But I was like, I don't care. Like I just love.
So you didn't even play in the game either.
No, not at all.
That I could never do.
You still have that jersey?
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting it redone for someone else.
You're gonna have
Lane Hudson?
But he also didn't play in that game. Like
Find someone in that.
I might just
outdoor.
turn it into a Carey Price jersey.
Yeah.
So.
How much for a normal jersey? People are asking. I think it's $200. So
That is so
it's a steep decline from there. So
still really expensive for like no name on the back of a jersey.
I don't, and this is not a shot at Fanatics at all. I
No,
believe that is exactly what the Made in Canada prices were. Maybe it went a little up with like inflation and whatnot, but like they're just pretty much making something available. I don't think they changed the price.
What is Fanatics going to do in terms of like a reverse retro kind of thing that Adidas did?
It's true.
I'm really curious to see.
What's the next? Yeah.
They're going to have to do something.
They gotta
You
do
can't
something.
You can't just do nothing during this contract. So
Yep.
that'll be interesting.
To Justin in the chat, did they answer questions already? No, we have not.
Wow.
We have comments that were on a community post that we put out. Again, if you're following and subscribe to the Bardown channel, you would see that pop up in your feed. So make sure to do so for next time. That's where we'll be starting our questions. But when we have some time at the end, I can also just rip some here in the chat here. So. Let's get it underway, folks, because I'm sure you might have some questions. It is our first month of doing the Bardown channel, so I don't want to speak for everyone here because you guys are literally here and you can speak for yourselves, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, obviously, but in a good way. It's been nice to kind of just be so focused on just making stuff for this channel, and obviously it's been a long time coming, so thank you for joining along with us. It's been fun, and we very much appreciate all the support you guys have given, so... Yes, that's why we did want to do this answer segment. So
And like and subscribe if you already haven't.
we're just
Do it now.
laying that message on day. But it's because we mean it.
Yeah,
It-
honestly, like it's an
helps.
easy
It
thing to do.
helps.
Helps
It
us out.
does.
We can give you guys more fun hockey content, and you can ask some questions. Maybe you'll hear your name while we answer some questions right now.
Well, but also you guys just have awesome questions sometimes, so please do leave questions.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not like there
Make
are
us think.
there are a few of them. We don't do that enough.
Except for Canucks fans. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, Canucks fans. I actually love. I really.
All
love the Canucks.
right, we're done pandering to them. That once they said we got them scared, I got a little pissed. I was just like, I think we're just.
I'm not scared.
I'm scared of you.
I'm not a confrontational person in these environments, at least. So it's just like we're just trying to have fun.
I'll
You
confess.
guys get a little nuts with us. All right, let's go with question number 1.
You're doing a quiz right now?
I know. Yeah. Why? This is from Robert Gillard. He says, "Why wasn't the Bardown crew able to cover any of the NHL playoffs once the Leafs were eliminated?" To the wide. That's right. I just directed Riz from there. but just because I think it really is a group thing. I'm going to speak for myself on one part. I think we've said this before in the past, but what some people I guess don't necessarily realize, makes sense. You just see us in videos. We do other work for TSN, and yes, when there's a lot of focus on the playoffs in the beginning with the Leafs, especially, it's more just round one is the focus. It actually doesn't necessarily matter who goes on and whatnot. And yeah, there would be still a lot of focus if the Leafs were still there, but we get pulled in so many directions. I think after and during when the Leafs were there, I went to Bermuda for like Sail GP or something. Yep. Then I went to the Netherlands for soccer. There's not me trying to pat myself on the back or flex anything. It's just we get pulled in other directions.
You're the best. It's all good.
This is the job.
And then I think we did like Formula One from there. Like we literally, I didn't personally get to focus on the NHL from that point. I think we did a Rangers, Cora and I did a Rangers video. What was it?
Rangers Capitals. You guys did
Rangers
a video.
Capitals, and that was the last one we did.
That was also during the time where like there was a ton of prep for the Euro Cup too.
Yeah.
I remember you had a lot of different shoots for that.
Because you made all the graphics for that.
Yeah.
Like
it was busy, and then the CFL was starting too. It was just like a crazy
that
time.
CFL pulls us in that direction.
Also ripped Vegas and went to the Sphere. It was nuts. But also, just want to say, like, even I know, like, individually, we were all still very invested. Like, I don't think I've ever watched as much hockey as I did in last year's playoffs. And, like, we were still pretty dialed into teams other than the Leafs. So
in the playoffs, I think it took going back to the Stanley Cup final for me to be able to even, like, fully be invested in this series again. Like, I would still watch the highlights and stuff, but I don't think I got to watch games again until the final because it was so crazy for me. So I had to, like, just, like, read, which is, like, fun, but that's probably the one point when it starts getting you're like covering other sports and still desperately trying to follow and like cover another one. It can get a little dicey.
Not to sound like a beauty, but I think I actually only missed like 3 or 4 total games the entire playoffs last year. I have never no, it's because like so my girlfriend is Swedish and she's 6 hours ahead, and in that time when she's sleeping, I'm like, okay, I gotta just fill the time here.
Dude, you sound like such a beauty.
I am. Well, because I am.
The biggest.
That's what I speak.
You sound like such a beauty.
I am.
Let's move on to the next question.
How many games did you miss last year, man? Hey?
Not as you.
Did you
missed
miss
way
watch
less.
any considering the Canadians?
Well, I'm not, bro. I'm not big of a beauty,
bro.
Not as big of a beauty.
No, that low right now.
Let's go on to question number 2 here. NY Mets number 1. He asks, we want a floorball game for charity between Bardown and Steve Dangle's podcast network. Now, why did I choose this one? Because we actually already played him in floorball. That was kind of all he was, like to some degree, like a Bardown versus SDPN there. And I will say, I think if you guys were in there and we had their team in there, now Steve's team won in the end. So it's not me trying to like flex or anything. They won. You know, he got the trophy win there. I think we would have done pretty well in that tournament had we have shown up as a team. Because like the fact that I was able to do anything says something. Because I'm not even
you lit it up.
Bottom of the power rankings on our team in play.
Let's not mince words. You lit it up.
Is it similar to hockey?
Floorball, it's like the shot would leave your stick way higher than you'd think. Like it was really hard to keep the ball down. Is
Those
all I
sticks
know.
are
Like,
cool though.
Yeah, they were really cool. I think you guys probably would have figured it out way better than I would have. But I think we would have done pretty well in that tournament. But
would like to share a quick fun fact about floorball. So at Special Olympics, floor hockey is typically played like ringette. It's like you just have the same stick. It's like these foam rings.
Yeah.
But now floor hockey is now switching to floorball in the Special Olympics.
Oh, really?
All teams are going to be, that's going to be what tournaments are now. Nice. There's floorball that's going to be at the Winter Games coming up. So keep an eye out for that. Maybe some fun content coming from that, but really cool.
It's cool. Really cool. And yeah, the best part of that was just we got to actually meet. I'd never even met Steve in person before that. Very nice guy. And Jesse as well. Very awesome. Went to school with Jesse actually, so I did know him. Anyways, next one from Drew Van 19. And he says, let's go. So hyped for the live podcast. Content has been awesome. Recently watched every single episode and can't wait for more. That is not a question, as you'll see. Why did I pick it? Because I just wanted to say thanks.
It's a statement.
Wow, thank you.
That is a statement.
And it means a lot. So
thank you.
We thank you.
What a beauty. Who is this?
Very nice. That's Drew.
He does sound like a beauty.
Beauty.
Drew, you
sound like a beauty.
That guy
he
only
watched
missed,
every game.
He only missed 2 or 3.
He watched every game.
Oh, for sure.
He didn't miss an episode, as he said.
No, yeah. See? Beauty.
100%.
Certified beauty.
Next question here is from Dibby0156. Super long question, so I
was gonna
apologize.
say I can't see that on our little preview.
Don't worry, I'll read it for
right.
you.
I can't see anything on that preview.
It's like an eye test.
50-20 and 60-20 vision in my eyes. Nothing to write home about.
Main question. what was the sales pitch / process for the Bardown YouTube page to be able to separate from the TSN page? And my side question, other than the quizzes and Bin Boys, my favorite series on the channel was the road trips. Will we see any other part to that series? Maybe Minnesota during the high school hockey tournament and during the Calgary trip. That video had 2 songs I really liked with banjo music. I remember picking that stuff out. When you got to the Lake Louise and the song after Jeff Buchum, it's kind of crazy. Do you happen to have the name of those songs? I will check that one later for you. I genuinely might, because it should still be in my Premiere file. But it's
You keep things organized, so like you probably will.
The Old Town
Not
Road,
like this guy.
Old Town Road, how you almost
Yeah, that was crazy.
That
It was for the
was nuts,
first
yeah.
road trip video. Like Old Town Road had like 50,000 views. Like it was before Lil Nas X was even remotely an artist. He was just on YouTube. And we were obsessed with it and whatever.
That day in the office, we were just bumping it nonstop.
We were like, let's license this for the road trip. Like he'll probably say yes. We could probably just like text him anyways. What a miss. That would have been anyways.
Huge miss. Big regret.
The question though, because I know it's probably been a question that a lot of people have had. What took so long there? And to be honest, it really is just like a process I think there was like an understanding that, hey, here's the TSN channel, and obviously we do a lot of good for it, and we still do, because we're a hockey channel now on Bardown here, but all of the other stuff that we do still as Bardown, still on the TSN channel. I think it was just more, there's clearly an appetite and an audience for what we do with hockey, and if you pay attention on YouTube at all, like the best thing for you to do is just like, hey, treat your community as if like this is what they'd like, and here's what they'd like over here, and kind of getting a little bit more specific with that. And I think there finally was like a true understanding, and it also takes a lot of like work and effort and like, you know, enough team members to have that kind of plan, because to make enough videos to justify even having a channel, like if you've been following us for a while, I'm sure you've seen, like we had 3 videos a week for the first month of this. We never have done that, like ever, like literally ever. Like sometimes we disappear on you for months at a time, because as we said, we're doing other things. So we also kind of had to upkeep a promise on that, which is like, let's stay dialed in, let's stay focused. And so it's been great to do that.
And can continue too, which is exciting.
Exactly. It's been great. So yeah, last time I'll say it in here until the very end. Just kidding. Subscribe. What? And the side question, road trips.
Yeah.
We would love to go on road trips.
Hell yeah.
You said that Minnesota one, like you've been pitching that one for a while. And
Not Minnesota.
oh, why? Which one am I?
Should we keep it a secret where we're going?
Okay. Yeah, we have one. How about that?
We have one coming up, and it could be really,
So fun. It's gonna
really
be fun.
cool.
It'll be cool. It'll be cool. It's a very cool video idea too. It's not even just like the road trip element. Like what they're allowing us to do is like,
It's gonna be goofy.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be goofy.
yeah, it'll be very fun. Let's move on to the next question. Right? We will do road trips otherwise too, because trust me. Question number 5 here, Antonius17B. It is a quiz. Who is one player that is not currently a captain that you think should be a captain?
Josh Morrissey.
From your Winnipeg Jets?
Yeah, I mean, not to take anything away from Lowry, but I just think Morrissey would be an incredible captain. Guy wears his heart on his sleeve. Apparently, he's a huge beauty. From all the call-out videos we do, apparently he picks up the tab the most. Beauty. Guy watches all the hockey games, doesn't miss any games.
You know what he done? You know what he wouldn't miss? 92 mile an hour flapper.
He's scoring that 10 out of 10 times on cheap Darcy Kemper. He's probably blocking that shot, actually. He's probably saving it.
Explain to me
Poor
how someone
Kemper,
blocks that
man.
without their neck. Like, it was so high from... Anyway, whatever.
I wanted to ask you about this for captain. Just because Landeskog's been hurt for so long, and I feel like it's a little bit unfair to him because he seems like a great leader, but I feel like Nathan McKinnon is someone that's always talked about in this sort of conversation.
McKinnon could probably be it. Landeskog's such a good captain, though, and like they desperately miss him. I think his leadership, just him being around the team. I was gonna honestly think for the Rangers, like
What, and say it's Trouba right now?
it's Trouba right now, but I think it probably should be someone else.
This guy's giving it to the goalie.
Oh, you should be
I
Kreider.
was gonna say Kreider or even Adam Fox.
Kreider actually, he rotates his alternate too. I noticed the other night he didn't have the A on. So
Kreider seems to be the player that they rally around. They always talk so highly of Kreider. Apparently he's a complete horse. Let's see some horses in the chat, everyone, for Chris Kreider. Get those horses out right now. Saw a bunch of horses earlier. I want to hear the gallops.
There was also Eric's comment that you might have heard that said, "Don't come to Minnesota." We're coming to Minnesota specifically now for you, Eric.
Yeah,
we'll see you
Eric.
there, pal.
World Juniors 2026. Let's go.
See you there, Eric.
Yeah. Eric?
One
You're giving the company to Eric?
One comment from the chat from Marco Novello, just because I do want to sprinkle some of these in here. You guys ever going to do a called out with other Canadian teams, or is it too hard to do that on the road? So the way that those called outs kind of come to be is just like we have access to the teams if we have broadcast rights. Yeah. Because that's TSN. So we're actually allotted time with the Leafs. We're allotted time with the Senators. When the Habs are cool with us, sometimes we're allotted time with them. That one's, we'll see. But otherwise,
Canucks, Oilers, Flames. We don't broadcast.
we don't have broadcast
Yeah.
rights. It's not that we wouldn't. Are you kidding me? Like the second they offered that,
Oh my God.
we'd be all over that.
You're gonna call that with the Oilers? Would
amazing.
be amazing.
Amazing. It's not because we don't want to or that we're like, it's important we focus on the Leafs this year. Like, literally none of us in here are Leafs fans. Like, I couldn't
No.
state
I
that
actually
enough at this point.
root against the Leafs for my entire life.
Buddy, you're telling me, hey? Oh my goodness. Also, we will have potentially another called out video
Yes.
coming up with some very talented junior hockey players, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, moving on to the very next question in here. This question comes from Megan, I'm going to say Signer. Might get that right. Who knows? Should the Coyotes brand be relocated to Kansas City? So I guess they're saying like the jerseys are so cool that you just kind of give it to whatever team comes up next. And I was just thinking this. Kansas City, they have a baseball team and they have a football team.
Yep.
So I guess they could have an NHL team, but like that's pretty close to St. Louis, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, could Missouri,
no,
and
Missouri
if you're from Missouri in
state.
the chat, let us know. Like, do you think Missouri as a state would want that and could do that? Like,
I don't think it'd be able to.
do you think they could facilitate to? It'd be
I
cool.
mean, they have two baseball teams.
It's true, yeah. But baseball's like, they're historical baseball teams
Yeah.
too. Or at
Yeah,
least-
those two franchises specifically.
Who knows? It'd be cool to see. As for the rebranding, like Kansas City, like make your own name. I'm
Yeah,
always in
come up with
favor of
something new.
Come up with something
Kansas
new.
City Coyotes. it just
If
doesn't
there's
really-
one team that needs to have their branding brought back, it's the Atlanta Thrashers. Let's just say
Thrashers.
the Atlanta Thrashers' nicest uniforms.
Kansas City
Ever.
kids.
Ever.
That's
not
such a
not ever,
piping
but
hot
I-
take.
Ever
man.
is crazy.
There's
Ever is
definitely
crazy.
such
there's
a hot take.
nostalgia factor with me and the Atlanta Thrashers. I just like
The Jets,
I get it.
the
That's
Jets
cool.
Timu era jerseys are better. And like you want to talk about
No,
a
they
team that
probably
needs
are.
to go back to its roots?
I don't know if you're allowed to
Jets.
comment on the Thrashers gear because, there's some conflicted, thoughts in there. I'm sure.
Hey, I like some of the Thrashers jerseys. Hey, man, that's our history too. Okay, like
That's what I
I'm not gonna
mean.
Neglect history. No, but I'm saying that like if you want to actually talk about the history, like the Jets need to get away from their current jerseys and they need to go back to those old Timu Solani era jerseys. 'Cause They're
100%.
so nice.
It's a no doubter.
And I got to be honest, I'm just not really a huge fan of our current jerseys. I'm curious to hear what the chat has
Like
to say.
the side patch.
I like the side patch.
That's it.
Tier list.
Yeah.
Side patches.
Side patches.
Best side patch ever.
Best side patch ever. Next question here is from Peter High. It says, this is kind of funny. It's a New York question, but I'm pretty sure that's a David Ortiz emblem in his thing. But hey, what do the Rangers need to do to finally get over the hump? It's publicly known that this is the last ride this core has together. So what's the missing link to complete this mission? I think me and you watch probably the most Rangers games is my guess.
Yeah.
And what do you think? I'll let you start off and maybe I'll give a thought afterwards.
It's a good question. I don't know. It just feels like sometimes some of their star players are a little quiet in the playoffs. I feel like they could use just like a guy who's been there before and you're going to get good playoff production out of him. That's kind of my main take. Am I crazy for saying that like I feel like the Rangers' issue sometimes in the playoffs can
It's almost
be goal scoring?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you where it's like I don't even know if it's like an acquisition thing. As you said, like if you looked at their lineup, it's not like there's like tons of holes. So, yeah, it's not like just trade line or trade deadline acquisitions because when they have, none of them have really worked necessarily like that well. You're trying to think, what do they have? They have Kane, they had Tarasenko.
Yeah.
I think Riley Smith was a good pickup for them.
Yeah, still is. I mean, he's playing. I think
he's a good pickup.
yeah.
And I just remember, like, didn't Zibanejad get really quiet last year in that conference
That
final?
one's a good one. I keep seeing that, unfortunately. Alex Tuck, like that. an Alex Tuck style player would be perfect.
Yeah,
because he could fit on
perfect.
many teams, and I feel bad for him because he's like I think like, grew up a Sabres fan and
did.
wants it to work there. But
They'll be the Rangers should be aggressive at the deadline. I mean, they just seem like everything is there for them to win almost, but like you got to do what you got to do right now to you're going to be paying Shesterkin so much soon. Just go for it. Really go for it hard here.
Philippe Gagnon says, "Don't crowd the roster. Let the young guns play." I agree that, and if anything, the Rangers have in the last little while kind of done that. So it's nice because look at Laugh now.
Laughs look great.
He's
man.
been great.
He's gonna get a big deal too.
Once he already did.
Oh yeah, 8x8.
Well, sorry, I
don't
guess
think
it's
he got it
rumor.
already.
Sorry,
It's rumor that he's in
pardon
by-
me.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Yeah, and it's funny because people keep just looking at his total, like just counting stats, and they're just like he's never gonna whatever. It's just like it's all 5-on-5. Like the second he gets on like power play 1, I'm sure his numbers would go up. Just watch him play.
For sure.
He's been way better. Okay, the next question here. Hopefully that answered your question. Comes from Kieran, who says, because you guys hate Canucks fans, let's talk about Elias Pettersson. Are we seeing a franchise-ending bust of a contract happening? The only reason I even picked this is because like the amount of heat that seems to be down on like Pettersson is crazy. Like, I get it, where we just said the numbers that he's been cold for a while, and I get why you'd be concerned, but franchise-ending bust, like
That's
this is not, and like
That's
He's just in a slump.
most people don't think this. Not saying that, but like
I mean, before he had like that 100-point campaign, he was also, I feel like, being talked about in this way a little bit, where he was like kind of slumping, kind of not producing what Rangers fans, Canucks fans have come to expect, or like based on his potential. So it'll come out the other way. But what's his height? Like, what can he consistently be at? I think is like the better question, because like Canucks, you're paying for a top 25 player. Will he ever consistently be that? I don't know.
2 comments from the chat here. First one's from Mason, who literally just said this, and I actually agree with it because we haven't really talked about them much. I tried to, and then Thomas looked me off. You guys should talk about the Devils more.
Talk about the depth.
Do you guys have any thoughts on the Devils so far? I saw them twice to begin the year, and I thought they looked better than the Sabres, but that's not much of an endorsement other than, hey, they're top of the Metro, so good start.
Kovacevic has been
He's a good player.
amazing, man.
Yeah, no, he's a good player.
I think I saw a stat yesterday. He has like 4 points in 7 games. He's playing like over 21 minutes a game. It's like, I don't get how the Jets just let that guy walk, man. Like,
Well, the Habs also traded him too. And then,
yeah, but he was like, did they got some value? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I feel like he's looking like a top 4 defenseman right now.
No, yeah, he's looked good. The Devils as a whole have looked good. I got into a bit of trouble because I was making jokes during the tier list video saying Sheldon Keefe, get ready to learn Muskoka, just because of that selfie that he posted. Or not the selfie, the video.
I chuckled. That's kind of.
But that was before the series in Prague, and they got up to 2 wins, and they've looked really good since there. And the goaltending looks more stable. They've already matched their shutouts from a year ago, which is
Crazy.
like kind of a sad stat,
That's
but
a
also a
crazy
hopeful
stat.
stat. No, they look great, and I think with the Devils, because of how good they were 2 years ago, we were all sort of expecting them to be one of the elite teams this year. Maybe there was a bit of uncertainty on what was really closer to reality 2 years ago, or was it last year? But it looks like they're going to prove to everyone that they're one of the best teams in the East again, and they're off to a very nice start.
Having that series be like spicy with both the Rangers and them also just being good too. Just as a neutral, amazing.
Does Dougie Hamilton even have a point this year?
we were like so
That's
positive,
your beauty.
and then he's just like, "Let's go in on that."
Not to be a beauty, but you should.
No. In the
dialed
in the playoffs
Wow.
last year, last year, I was like one of the biggest beauties in the game.
but not anymore. No.
But yeah,
Start of the year,
He's not a beauty
less
anymore.
of a beauty.
well, man, we were like in London for a little bit. Like
We only got 8 minutes left
Fuck.
here, so I just want to get through a few things. Here's Ryan Flanagan, who says, do you think any rules will change soon? Playoff LTIR and preseason are often talked about. Plus, there's a player union meeting happening sometime soon. What do you guys think? Is there any rule that you'd even like want to be looked at like almost right away?
Yeah, I got one. I think there's got to be something to be said about these college players who are signing with teams and then forcing their way out of these teams that they got drafted by. I think there needs to be more compensation for the team that drafted them. It's not fair that these teams sometimes are put in these really tough positions where it's like, okay, the Jets are going to now have to veer away from drafting college kids because like kids are just potentially going to force their way out of there. It's like there should be, and the team that ultimately gets that player, I just think that there needs to be a change in the process somehow.
But at the same time, I don't know how you regulate, but the other thought I have, and I just, again, it's outside the lens of hockey and I guess the NBA for the most part, but like it's just kind of more free market to some degree. Yeah, and I mean, they make up obviously like a pretty decent sum of like a lot of the young talent coming into the league, but
especially now. A lot.
Yeah. I see your position on it because as your team, like you are the team that'd be hurt by this. Like the Jets as an organization. Teams have been hurt by this. The Flames and yes.
Yeah, and it shouldn't happen.
But I don't know if I agree as all. It's like I agree in the sense that I see your perspective as far as I understand why you'd feel that way, and I go, yeah, that sucks. But I also would view it from the player perspective, where it's like, I don't know. In other sports, I'm fine when they kind of choose their destination to some degree, especially at the very, very beginning. The idea of how drafts and what work, like the more and more I think about, the more it feels hilarious that we've done it this way for so long. Personally, that it's just like because one team did a certain way in the year before, that's where you are now. I don't know. That's always felt a little weirder to me, but that's the way that they have it. And I'm not saying shake that up, far from it, but elements of it turning more into a free market, I'm kind of like, nah, it's kind of fine because now you have both. You kind of, it's just kind of balanced that way. Then
I don't know. As someone who roots for a smaller market team and watched us just kind of get burned by this, even though we got good compensation, it puts certain teams in very difficult situations, and I just don't think it happens often enough for it to be like that. Like Cutter left a pretty big hockey market.
Yeah, like Philadelphia's
like
big.
He forced his way out of a pretty legendary big hockey market. I think
Anaheim.
Yeah, like I wouldn't call that a upward trajectory move, but for his career, he thinks it is.
Also, what about organization-wise? Like, take the small market factor. And again, I totally hear you on it. If I were in your shoes, I am not begrudging what you're saying whatsoever. I get your viewpoint on it. But if you were a player and let's just say you were destined for an organization that just like historic. And I'm not trying to say it for them. I hope the players love going there. Like, but if there were thoughts where you're like, man, like that's tough. And I won't even use them. I'll say like the Arizona situation before where you don't even know what you're getting into, where they didn't even know if the team was going to exist because the Sabres are far, far better than that. What would you, in that case, wouldn't you be kind of happy for a player to kind of be like, yeah, like what the heck? Why do I have to go to that?
No, I would want, I'd probably want that player to like go to that organization and try to like create change within that organization.
It's a lot to ask of a young player.
But man, that's you get drafted by the team. It's like, okay, it's like you're contractually obligated to go to this team, and then you just ride it out. And then sometimes
you're technically not contractually obligated. You haven't signed.
You just have your rights.
Anyways, that's all right. Agree to disagree. Maybe we'll have this discussion.
I also think that like, hey, should something be said about teams that don't have like different tax rules? Like,
that one's a big one. That one's a big one because it's clearly, as we've all noticed, like it's been advantageous.
I told you I want to get like an NHL lawyer on.
We'll see. We'll check. It'll be fun.
Or like
ways to skirt around it where it's not as big of a deal as people make it up.
Let's go on to our last two questions here.
A big deal.
Let's do our last two questions here. We only have 3 minutes. Hugh Hogan says, who do the Kings need to acquire to make it past the first round? You watched the Kings last night, Thomas, so why don't I start you with that?
I thought they actually looked pretty good. I mean, especially coming off a back-to-back, 3 games in 4 nights. Yeah. You lose 8-7 to the Sens. You lose 6-2 to the Leafs. And now you're going into Montreal, a team that's been, playing decent. And you think, like, what a disaster this road trip would be if we come away with 0 points and 3 losses. And I thought they were good, but I think their style of hockey, it's a little bit more, maybe not as flashy as some of the other teams. I don't think they're going to score their way to a ton of points this year. So I think it's just, it's easier said than done to say, add a, skilled offensive player that can play in your top 6. Players like that just aren't always available.
Sure.
To think of a name right away of someone that I feel like could be a good match, it's tough, honestly. But I think that their brand of hockey and committing to the style of play that they do, and getting good goaltending from Darcy Kemper on shots
That's a problem.
closer
They're
than the
bleeding
blue line.
I was gonna say it's probably the goalie department, as well as because like they're missing Doughty already because like
Yeah.
tough injury to start your year with. Last question here is from Mistress Yumi, who says, "Who is everyone's underdog team and player this year?" I'm just gonna turn it to team because we're running out of time here, and I want you to just say a team and then
Seattle.
Utah.
I was going to say both of those teams.
probably Utah, but I'm gonna say the Sabres. Let's turn this thing around.
Wow.
Yeah.
Panic meter's going full chill.
Nope. Yeah, we're so chill.
So chill.
Yeah, so chill. Jess, why don't you join us for the last part here?
I was just checking the standings. For
No
a second.
sweat. Thanks so much for joining us for our first live show of the season. It's been a ton of fun. If you want us to do more of this, let us know in the comments. Hey, is there anything that you kind of enjoyed, didn't like? The best part when we kind of start a new series is you can really help us form what we're actually doing to some degree, because we just want to make stuff that you actually are entertained by, you actually enjoy. So, yeah, let us know. Did you like it? And if you did like it, why not actually like the video? If you're enjoying the content, stick around with us. Subscribe to the new Bardown channel. We'll be back with some more new videos later next week. A lot of ones that I think you're really going to enjoy. But other than that, see you later, folks.